All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one, Schaefer and Sliwa. On this Monday afternoon, good show lined up. Kevin Acee will join us coming up in about 28 minutes. Mark Medina on the NBA. We've got the playoffs and the play-in, and he'll join us at 5 p.m. But before we get, there's so much going on in Padres
so much going on.
But I haven't seen you in like forever.
You look great.
You look really good. I haven't seen you since Friday.
Haven't seen you since Friday.
Now we were talking.
You lost weight.
Did I? I don't think I did, man. I'll tell you what. The weekends. Here's the thing. I have a child. To the best of my knowledge, you don't.
I do not.
Unless you haven't told me you have a child.
Unless I have one, and I don't even know about it. But no.
So don't you feel like weekends are different if you have a child as opposed to don't have a child? Like when I didn't have a kid, because I'm 45. So the first 38 years of my life. Yep. Here's a newsflash. I didn't have a kid. I was a kid for some of that.
You were.
And then I was an adult. But dude, there's such a big difference.
Is it just you have no time for anything?
Your kid gets up, races upstairs. Dad, you want to play? And I'm like, no, not necessarily. If I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, tell him. Say, listen, son, it's Saturday.
Like back in the, you could just
need a couple of days.
Maybe I just want to watch the NBA or Major League Baseball, or you can't do that.
And here for someone who does not have a kid,
right
yet. There is a little bit of like, I'm going to definitely look back at these moments, and whatever I was complaining about, I'm going to be like, what were you complaining about?
It's a lot is my point.
Yeah.
So to some extent, I kind of enjoy getting back into the week because it's so different. It's like two lives. When you have your work week, you're concentrating on, getting ready for the
sound
show.
And Pivetta news
like,
and sure.
Yeah. Like the things that matter.
Yeah.
Nick Pivetta as opposed to, my family. I'm kidding. Weekend for you?
Good weekend. Nice Monday too. I gotta be honest, just kind of going through, kind of getting the week back started. It's always, Mondays are, by the time it's all done. Yesterday, I spent some time. I did this, which doesn't happen typically, was down in Solana Beach area. Just started pouring rain just while
it happened today too.
While I'm at the beach. And for a second there, I'm like, this is not what I signed up for.
I love how that's like a news item. Like it rained.
It rained.
And by the way,
there's nobody, by the way, nobody at the beach.
No,
everybody
smart.
Yeah, everybody's like, if it's just going to sprinkle a little bit,
I'm out.
I'm going to take my chance. I went out there with this, the clouds, I don't care what my phone says. I'm smarter than the app. It rained.
Do you know how many? It's funny because this time of year is, as you know, you're from here. This time of year, it doesn't rain, obviously. Basically, April through October, it doesn't rain very often. Do you know how many? Here's a trivia question for you. How many times have there been a rain out for a Padres home game?
In general or just in April?
Maybe in general, because I'm Googling it as I look. No, in general. Since 1969, how many times have the Padres been rained out?
Is it a single digit number?
It's not a big number.
Okay, I'll go, based off of that, I'll go 14 times.
Since 69, 4 in the 20-plus year history of Petco.
Wow.
4 times. But that kind of speaks to what you're saying, because we're in season. They even played yesterday, and it rained. It rained a little bit today, but it is like, this time of year, again, with the Padres, I used to ask myself, why do the Padres have a tarp? I mean, if it's going to rain, just whatever. Well, you'll have the rain out.
Here's the best part about the 30 minutes of rain over the weekend. I felt like the roads were clear. Nobody was out there.
No, it's raining. Can't go out.
Nobody was at the beach.
No.
Nobody went to a grocery store, nothing.
No, you got to stay in.
So just, sprinkles a little bit, and we know what we're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
None of us can take harsh weather. I told you, I've never lived outside of Southern California. If you just picked up and said, I live in Boston now, I'm like, I wouldn't even know what that means. Like, I can't even comprehend it. Dude, I get one weekend up in the mountains. I'm like, perfect. I'll come back down.
In Boston, this past weekend is like a gorgeous weekend, even with the rain. But here it's like, don't go outside, shelter in place.
Go outside. No.
While we were sheltering in place, the Padres were able to get 4 games in at home. What a whirlwind of events. I mean, we were here obviously on Friday, but they've won 3 games since. So it's a little bit of like, potentially win a battle, lose a war, because you've won 4 straight games. You've won 8 of 9. You've won 9 of 11. But now you've lost Nick Pivetta, who's your opening day starter. Now we don't know how long, but Pivetta's out. Shoot, you've played Fernando Tatis Jr. at second the last 2 days. We'll get into that as well. And Kevin Acee will join us at 3:30. But there's nothing bigger. I think the 8 of 9 is very encouraging, obviously, but nothing looms larger than Nick Pivetta's health coming out of yesterday, even with the win, right?
All right, so I'm going to give you, and I'm sure a lot of Padre fans could relate to this. So do you have MLB, the League Pass?
I do. MLB.TV.
MLB.TV. So I got it. So I got the game on my phone. Kind of running around a little bit yesterday, doing whatever I'm doing.
I do it all the time.
And Padres, I think at that up, I want to say at that point, maybe up 4-2, I want to say.
Yes.
Okay. So they go up 4-2. And then all you just start hearing is, all right, Ruben Niebla is going out. He's going to go take a look at Nick Pivetta. And that obviously can't be good. To be honest with you, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me a little bit of the Musgrove Atlanta Braves game. This is the wild card round. And if you were at that game or watching it on TV, I happened to be at that game. There was this like, wait, why is he going out there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. He's pitching just fine. Yep. Okay, well, this is then an issue. I just hope it's Niebla going back to the dugout and that's it. Instead, it's like yesterday, like it happened with Musgrove. It's Pivetta walking off the mound, obviously with Musgrove walking off the mound. There's such great momentum around the Padres right now. They've won 8 of 9, like you said. I said 9 of 11, and you were like, yeah, my percentage is better. My percentage is better. But they're really playing some good baseball. You come back home, you get 4 straight.
Yep.
There's a lot of good energy around the Padres. It was impossible all day yesterday to not have this like knot in your stomach saying, please tell me Nick Pivetta's okay and the Padres will be fine moving forward. And we don't have that answer right now.
Here's what I would say. By the way, when Pivetta left the game, and you're right, it was 4-2 later in that inning, he was 9 up, 9 down.
That's right.
When he left the game there in the 4th inning. And to your point, I completely agree about Musgrove 2024. And then I'll kind of go even more recently with Michael King. There was a moment in time last August. We were doing a show on 760. It was a Padres off day. They were in first place over the Dodgers. And you remember this time of year, right?
I remember this time of year. I remember you guys talking about it.
Yeah, they're a game up, even a game and a half at one point, whatever it was. And on that off day, we learned Michael King was going back on the IL. And it's the adage around the Padres, and some people were sharing it yesterday. Things are going too well. In 2024 in the postseason, it was going too well. It's like you had to be brought back to earth. 2025 with Michael King in August. You're a game up, going too well. Padres have the second best record in baseball right now to the Dodgers. It's going too well. I mean, it's not that simple. There's other teams that have things go well all year long, but for whatever reason with the Padres, and we don't know, he might not miss a start. He might miss a week. He might miss a month or a year. So we'll learn more, obviously, but it does feel like it looms really large. And to pretend like it doesn't is not treating it the way it should be treated. This guy has been their ace for the last year plus.
Do you feel like that's exclusive to San Diego, or is this like every fan base where things are going too well? Or
it's not every fan base.
Well, it's not only because as I say it out loud, I think there's a justification of why you feel that way.
Okay.
Right? Like there's a justification to say, well, is this just is it more a San Diego thing that you feel that way? I think it is. I think there's a lot of backing behind it. We have data.
Yes. Right? You have a lot of data if you've been following San Diego sports for your entire life.
There's data, and there's a team of scientists that are like, no, these are the stats. This is what you have. But yeah, and it's not
ideal.
Well, it's based off of, I don't believe in it, but I get where it comes from.
Right.
If that makes sense.
You're talking about like a curse.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no curse.
Right. It's not like an official curse.
No, they're genuinely one of the biggest issues in San Diego. And I think part of the reasons why it's so tough, where everything is so magnified with the Padres.
Sure.
You have one team.
Exactly.
Now, this is something that happened last year with SDFC. I don't know how you were, but for me, it was like, oh God, please get one. There was the San Diego State making it to the Final Four.
Just give me this one.
Oh God, please just get one.
Just get this.
And you start thinking of like all these other franchises that came out of nowhere, grabbed one, and then they were like gone for years.
Miami Marlins multiple times.
I'm like, I'm happy to be one of the franchises that just gets one and then is irrelevant after that. But
to that point, by the way, again, I'm with you. I am superstitious. And by the way, if you want to weigh in, 877-767-4760, but I'm not a curse guy. But even San Diego, this I find kind of unique. In Boston, the curse is like a national curse. Like everyone's aware. They haven't won since they traded Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Like it's this curse of Bambino, 80-something years. It's not like it's just talked about locally. And then in Chicago, the curse of the GOAT. It goes back to, Brent, you said 1908, because they wouldn't allow a billy goat into the ballpark. I mean, why would you allow a billy goat into the ballpark? I can't bring like my
so you
wallet
win a World
into the
Series
ballpark.
within 100+ years.
Right.
That's why you allow a billy
But
goat in.
in San Diego, it's like, are people out there in like Des Moines like, oh man, that San Diego curse? Like even San Diego doesn't get the curses right. Like Boston and Chicago get the curses.
So
right?
here's the difference. And you are right, because that was so isolated to a specific team.
It was. Both of them are to one team. You're right.
But what we have here in San Diego, we like to not isolate anything with the team.
It's just the city.
We like to just include the entire city. The problem with a Cub fan could be sitting there and saying, "Oh my God, we got this curse, everything else." Yeah. I'm like, the Bulls won 6. Shut your mouth.
That's a great point.
Right?
Blackhawks won in there. Right. Boston is like the
Boston, every other year they have a parade for one of their other teams.
Now Brent is a diehard Cubs fan, but he is not. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brent. You're not a diehard Bulls fan. You're a Bucks fan.
Yeah.
He's not. So you're not a Chicago sports fan. You're a diehard Cubs fan.
Brent, I now have
I was more when I was a kid, because
he's wearing a Cubs hat right now.
Well, I grew up in the Jordan era, and Jordan's like my favorite athlete of all time.
Overrated.
So
what did he ever?
What did he do? I mean, is he really given that much credit?
So, but it is interesting what you're saying and what we're all saying. It's like this idea that, oh, it's so hard to be a Red Sox fan. Is it really? Because the Patriots won like 7.
So that's the point, that it's like, I get it for that specific team, but nobody understands it literally from an entire city perspective. And by the way, Brent, that freaking strike call on Xander was just, now that I kind of have a little more context here, now that I know the Cubby portion of this entire thing, now I'm back in the wild card game 3, where they call strike 3 on Xander. Get out of here.
Against the
What
Cubs.
the hell was that?
Last year.
What the hell was that?
Needed ABS last year. And they needed Ramon Laureano last year as well.
What a stud.
Oh.
Hey, wait, listen. I told you this was about a week ago. I said it's my favorite guy. I did say Laureano is my favorite guy, but I still have to buy a Xander jersey before I buy a Laureano jersey.
You might need to buy a Laureano jersey
Bro,
first.
what am I going to do? I feel like stuck here. I might be the only one that is trying to motivate Xander to get him to play just halfway decent baseball.
You want to motivate him? Buy a Laureano jersey. He'll see. Hey, he didn't buy a Xander jersey.
No, if I buy a Laureano jersey, he's going to say, look, there's even less pressure on me because nobody's paying any attention to me.
Probably true. Let's get to the position change for Fernando Tatis Jr., at least for a weekend. Plus, we'll hear from Craig Stammen and Nick Pivetta on the elbow injury that Pivetta suffered yesterday. We've got the latest for you on the other side. Of Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, will join us at 3:30 on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm not going to get too
All right, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee will join us coming up in about 12 minutes. We're going to hear from Craig Stammen and Nick Pivetta on Nick Pivetta. But Alan just asked me, Schaefer and Sliwa, by the way, San Diego Sports 760. He's like, should I go to the gym after this show?
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I actually said, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it's 6 o'clock gym. Who are you? You're not competing for the Olympics or whatever, are you? So like, for who, for what? I mean, yes, for your health.
Yeah, but I don't know how to take, because like if this is, let's use as an example, this is like a pep talk right now.
Yeah. And I'm like, just don't do it, man.
I don't know if I want to come to you for a pep talk to motivate.
You wouldn't. I'm like, if I was the manager of the Padres, like, hey, should I get some extra work in the cage? No. Play cards.
The game's over. Go home. What are you doing?
Get out of here.
You said something about night gym. Going to the gym at night.
Gym
okay,
guy,
so
dude.
here's what happened. My whole life, if I ever went to the gym, I would go and I'd play a lot of basketball.
Okay.
Since COVID, I retired. I just want you to know I retired from the game of basketball. I no longer play.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure before COVID, you were setting records in gyms nationwide. I can tell from
that's why I wanted to make sure and point that out. And I did hear the size and stature part. I just want you to know.
Man, if you played in the NIL era, who knows what you'd be getting? It would be unbelievable.
It's not going where I thought it was going, but let me finish what I was going to say. After COVID, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to play basketball. I just stopped playing basketball.
Okay.
So I stopped going to the gym later in the day, like night, because most of the runs would be at night.
Evening, that's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm with you now. I don't want to be at the gym at night.
No.
If I get the gym in, I like this, in between time. That's kind of my window. I do my podcast in the morning, NBA this.
Yeah, maybe then.
Now we got this. Now obviously 3 to 6. So I kind of fit it in between.
10 a.m.
I never go in the evenings anymore. But I'm just going to tell you this. I'm not coming to you for another pep talk.
No, I'm not a pep talk guy. Yeah. I mean, I'll talk you away from doing things that
you also made me feel you're kind of a little insecure about my basketball game, which I'm going to tell you right now. If you want to go one-on-one, I will demolish you.
You will.
I will.
No, here's the thing. I'm not much of an athlete.
I can tell. I can tell. No. Wait a second here.
It's hard to believe. By the way, I was the rare example. We'll hear from, by the way, Craig Stammen and Nick Pivetta. Trust me. Kevin will join us.
We're going to finish what we're saying.
I'm the rare example of knowing at the age of 8. I kid you not. I would tell people like I'm going to be like a broadcaster. They're like, you don't want to like play like in the NBA. I'm like, I'm not playing the NBA. Like I was very aware that like you probably needed to like catch a baseball in order to be good at baseball or like hit the ball or have the shot go in the. I just love sports. I loved everything about it, but I wasn't like. I'm like, I don't really look the part. Like, I don't know if I can hang with MJ. It didn't seem very likely.
I was the opposite.
You thought you were?
Yeah, I was like, I think this Middle Eastern guy that probably ain't getting higher, taller than 5'9". I could start for the Lakers, like Magic did it. So why can't I do it?
I don't know what Lakers. Maybe like the
Lakers,
the T-ball Lakers, or whatever.
I thought in my head there when I was 11, I'm like, we're on pace.
We're on track. By the time I'm 19, this is good.
By 13, I'm like, I don't think it's going to happen. It started setting in.
All right, let's hear from. Do you want to hear from Pivetta first? This is for you, Alan.
Yeah, let's go Pivetta. I want to hear.
Let's hear from Nick Pivetta. This is after his start. Again, he leaves with the elbow stiffness, and this was Nick Pivetta postgame.
I'm not going to get too much into it. Just didn't feel great today. Team was able to pull off a great win. Bullpen picked me up big time, and just see how things go from here.
You say not feel great. Is it physically? Is it an illness, or is it something more structural in the arm, or in some place that you felt something?
I think it's too early to tell for me. I just tried to go out there and do the best I could and get as deep as baseball came as I possibly could. Obviously didn't feel good. I came out of the game, but like I said, bullpen picked me up. Team did a great job. A lot of home runs, a lot of great plays. Was able to get a really good sweep and build some good momentum as well.
Is it specific itch you felt the soreness?
Like I said, I'm not going to get too into details. Just take it day by day right now. I think it's too early to tell. Just move forward from here.
So not into details, day by day. Thoughts on the way he positioned it as the athlete?
Tell me why, my initial reaction, that the fact that Pivetta talked, I felt like that's a positive thing. I don't know why.
Yeah, didn't just exit stage left.
Yes.
Yeah.
The fact that he talked, I took that as a positive.
Right.
That's not based off of anything. Obviously, we're going to find out. I mean, the whole scenario is just a real gut punch, and Pivetta is such a, I don't have to tell any San Diegan out there, any Padre fan out there, he is going to be such a critical piece to the San Diego Padres. He's got to be like, him and Michael King are like the givens. They have to be great. And then we got to start worrying about everybody else. So to not have Pivetta potentially for a stretch of time, it would be such a gut punch. But I cannot tell you why the fact that he talked like encouraged me a little bit. We'll see if, what happens from there. But obviously he is not sharing any details very repeatedly during that interview. Like, I'm not getting into it. And it's tough to kind of take anything away from that. We'll have to wait probably till tomorrow when they get Stammen again and everything else of what's going on.
Let's quickly hear from Stammen. It's about a minute, and then we'll have Kevin on the other side. We can react to it. But Craig Stammen kind of makes the correlation, well, he was sick. But that to me doesn't make any sense, dealing with an elbow. But this was Craig Stammen.
Or something.
This was Stammen post-game.
You can probably hear it in my voice. We're all kind of sniffling and snotting around a little bit. He was doing some of that too. I don't know if that affects recovery or whatever, but it just didn't feel quite 100% today, and dealing with the elbow stiffness, and it's kind of dealing with it the whole game, and got through 3 innings, and then got to the point where it just felt like, there's no reason for him to fight through it.
Is this something that he just started to feel today? Is it something that he felt prior?
Yeah, I think it's similar to what he was going through in spring training. Very similar, same thing. I think we caught it early enough this time. Hopefully things will be all right. But just, anytime it's someone's elbow, especially a pitcher, it's, reason for caution, and that's probably why we took him out of the game when we did.
What would be the plan to evaluate him moving forward?
Trainers will check him out. I don't know if they'll get imaging or not. It just kind of depends on how he feels tomorrow and whether they think that's necessary or not.
And did you have to say he displays in rotation?
We still haven't, we'll see how he feels tomorrow. There's a world where he makes his next start, so I think we're optimistic that we caught it at the right time, and he just needs a little breather, maybe get healthy, get some vitamin C in, and feel a little bit better.
Me personally, I will be shocked if Nick Pivetta makes his next start. You never know. I hope he does, but that to me would be shocking. The latest from Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, on the other side. He'll join us coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. In NBA news, Luka Doncic is set to return from Spain on Friday. He's been over there getting treatment for his hamstring. His status is still unknown, though, for the team's playoff series against the Rockets, which begins on Saturday. The Padres are off today, but they start a series tomorrow night against the Mariners at Petco Park. It's going to be Brian Wu going for the M's and Michael King on the hill for the Friars. First pitch is set for 6:40. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
All right, Schaefer and Sliwa on this Monday afternoon. Kevin Acee will join us momentarily. Padres off day, getting ready for the Mariners who just swept the Astros today up in the Pacific Northwest.
What'd you say? How many have they lost in a row? The
Astros have lost 8 consecutive baseball games.
Jeez.
So hard times in Houston. Mariners coming in relatively hot, although the Mariners overall, I think, have had an average start. But again, you'll see Seattle and San Diego tomorrow. Kevin Acee will join us with the latest here on Nick Pivetta coming up in a moment. Also, we haven't even touched on it. We will throughout the course of the next couple of hours. Fernando Tatis Jr. For at least a weekend transitioning to second base, playing both Saturday and Sunday. I don't think it's going to be a full-time thing. We can discuss it with Kevin, but it was unique to see, that's for sure, over the last 2 days.
You and I were talking a little bit about it, and I know it's a big deal, but I wanted you to tell me why it's a big deal. Why is it that big of a deal that he's moving to second? And it sounds like the biggest reason is just for Fernando Tatis Jr., right?
It's like honestly, for like between the ears. Potentially. It's like a placebo effect of a drug sometimes. If you think you're getting the benefits, then maybe the placebo is just as good as the actual drug. We can get into it with Fernando. Is Fernando Tatis Jr. with us or Kevin Acee?
It's Acee and Tatis.
Yeah, reveal yourself, guest. Is this Toddy or is this Kevin?
It is Kevin. I'm sorry to disappoint.
Oh, man.
You're not disappointed.
Terrible setup. That's a terrible. Hey,
here's Fernando. I mean, Kevin Acee, whatever. Same thing. We were touching on Tatis. Obviously, everything's centering right now around Pivetta, but since we're on the conversation of Tatis, it's just a short-term circumstantial thing, right? With the off days for Cronenworth, the off days for Bogarts. You wouldn't expect anything to come of this beyond that, would you, with his 5 hits over the weekend? He goes back to right field, presumably, on Tuesday, or how do you see it?
Yeah. I mean, first off, they have to make room for everybody to play, right? Who are they going to put Cronenworth out right?
Right.
But, like, it was funny because before the game and leading up to it, Stammen's like, maybe let's put a smile on his face and all this. After the game, Stammen plays it down like, you don't think the position had anything to do with it. Fernando basically blows off the question about it. But more than anything, because I bet you that they would love be like, let's keep riding this second base thing. But where are they going to play everybody? It's just that they are making an effort. And I wrote about it the other day. It is super important to Craig Stammen that everyone is taken care of health-wise. Everyone gets involved in the game. But, I mean, Cronenworth doesn't need another day off. Bogarts doesn't need another day off. So where are you going to play everybody? So, and look, the more you don't play Fernando in right, the more you're asking for trouble in right. So, like, Fernando Tatis is a platinum glover in right field. So that's where he'll be. But this is great for them that they know that they can do it. Because the truth is, Sungmun Song is not tearing it up in AAA. So, like, good for Ty France, right? Gets a bomb because that did not spell like a lot of good for Ty France when he said, hey, you know what? Let's put the guy who's never started out there at second base over Ty France. That was not good for Ty France. But, like, I think, Ty France has a place on this team as long as Sungmun Song is struggling and Tatis has a place in right field.
Well, Kevin, I mean, even if it's brief, maybe there's some positive vibes that come out for Tatis, goes back into right, and maybe it changes some things for him. Of course, the big news yesterday, and as John mentioned on Nick Pivetta, I'm curious, based off of what you listening to Pivetta yesterday, listening to Stammen yesterday. Just your overall thoughts on what happened, and obviously him being pulled. And I don't know if you've heard anything today, but just the latest from your end.
I've been through this so much where things can change over the next couple days. You kind of, I don't want to say want to, but you're troubled by it because this is not normal. And you had that thing in the off season. You got he's had things in the past. Oh boy. But then you go, had the thing or in the spring training that wasn't a big deal. Maybe he just wasn't feeling well, and he was throwing so well. But that velocity drop, that's concerning. So but when I started to say I've been through this so much, we need to wait a few days. We need to see here, to be, they're saying that they're optimistic. If I could tell you what they're saying, they're saying they're optimistic. I'm not saying I don't buy it. I'm saying I've been through this too much to really place much stock into what is happening or what is being said right now.
So it's probably we talked about this earlier. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. I mean, you think about 2024 postseason, you lose Joe Musgrove. Obviously, that's so magnified. I mean, that's the postseason. You're playing the Dodgers. Or 2025, you're up a game on the Dodgers and you lose Michael King, I remember, on that random off day in August. I mean, if he were to miss significant time, that importance can't be overstated, right? Because we've just seen it play out all too often over the years.
Yeah. Now, so going off the way that you just described it, especially like the Joe Musgrove issue, there's absolutely nothing you can do when you lose Joe Musgrove in the wild card series.
True.
Well, they're already thinking, what do we need to do and what might we be able to do? We get a new owner in here. We've got a little cash. If it's going to happen, it's best it happens early, right? And, it's not what you want. Nick Pivetta is a heck of a pitcher. Their hope is that he comes back and that he's Nick Pivetta, which it appeared that he was for, 2.5 starts. But if it was going to happen where you're going to lose a guy, you want it to be in April because you have the season. You have until, August 3rd this year to get somebody else, because it is a huge thing. Because I don't care what Matt Waldron is doing unless he's going to come back and for the entirety of the season be the guy he was for 11. Depends on what you want to say. For 11 starts in 2024, he was as good as anyone in the league. You could take it out to where 16 of his starts in a row, he was a pretty darn good pitcher. If he's that guy for the whole year, then great. But you've got to have Michael King, and I don't know if it's Randy Vasquez, I don't know if it's Joe Musgrove, and you've got to have, when we get to the playoffs, I don't think we, I'm a part of the team, I'm saying we, the general we, when a team gets to the playoffs, they got to have another guy. You just do. And so, hey, if Nick Pivetta is down, better to have it happen in April.
Kevin Acee joining us here, Schaefer and Sliwa Show, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin, I know we spent some time on that, and that's a gut punch for everybody, but the Padres, phenomenal baseball over the course of the last week and a half. John and I were just talking about it, 9 of 11, 8 of 9, obviously sweep the Colorado Rockies, one of the best records in Major League Baseball. And just like when they were 2-5 through 7 games and now 10-6 through 16, it is early. But what have you made of just this stretch run and specifically the series against the Rockies?
Well, they took care of business, which is something that I saw some disappointing Padres teams not do, right? Losing records against the Pirates, losing records against the Rockies. And they took care of business. And everyone came in, they're talking about how good the Rockies were, not good, like anyone thought they were going to the playoffs, but how much better they were. And I do think they're better. They have a different energy, a different vibe, and they seem to have some decent talent. They're not pathetic, but they're kind of the same old Rockies. And the Padres took care of them. So there's that. The thing that is just standing out to me is what I saw, but also what they were saying when they were struggling about how they would be okay. They are. They have been taking probably most consistent, good at bats that I have seen any Padres team take. in the last. I mean, look, let's only go back to 2020 when they were actually a decent team. But the most consistent offense in terms of, because in baseball, man, it's like when a manager makes a pitching change, a manager makes puts a pinch hitter in, it might not work out. A really good at bat, an 11 pitch at bat, just fouling off nasty pitches, and then you strike out. But it was still a really good at bat. Like it isn't always going to work out, but this is the most consistent offense that I have seen through 16 games.
To your point, my final one, Kevin, and I know we always have to preface everything with it's early. At some point you don't, but I'm going to do it anyway.
In August, we should still do it. We'll just say it's early.
I mean, it's not early like 3 games, right? But they've played 16 games, 1/10 of their schedule. I can't believe this surprised me. I just looked it up at Baseball Reference. They're 7th in baseball in slugging, which shocks me. But I know they've been scoring obviously at a better clip here recently. And then they are, I'd have to count 3, 4, 5, 6. 10th roughly in OPS on base plus slugging. So, I mean, again, now I'm starting to remember 2024 and how that offense really wasn't out of games. It wasn't only because of the home run ball. It was because of those big innings that they seemingly
coming
had.
back from losses.
And coming back from deficits. I don't know. I'm just kind of furthering your point that it's feeling more like 2024 to me than 2025 right now.
It can mean something. I mean, just so, I don't want to say jaded, but just like when you watch this game long enough, right? Like anybody, you're like, oh, gosh, it's early, man. Can't win you can't win it in April. You can't lose it. You can, but you can't win it in April. Not going to get too geeked, but yes, like I said, it's the thing that I'm believing in. Whatever their record is, I'm believing in like the team that they have been so far, and it can be a thing. We have seen it where they believe that anyone can do it. I thought that was like, I'm sure that was shocking to people when they were talking about after the first walk-off where, anyone in this lineup. And it's like, if someone was just looking at the stats, they're like, what do you mean anyone in this lineup? You guys suck. Well, if the players believe it, like it might be true because that's a big part of this game. And again, I just can't stress it enough. I feel like because of everything that, people were thinking for the first 7 games. I just can't stress it enough. From day one, this is the best at bats I've seen from a Padres team. Now, maybe I'm not saying that in 16 games from now, but right now, and I was saying it back then. I wasn't saying it was the best I've seen. I was saying, they're doing better than their results are. And not like I thought they were then going to win. Is it 8 of 9 now? But that doesn't surprise me because of that. Now, look, I'm not saying there ain't issues. Like the bullpen, I've said that before several times. No matter how good a bullpen is, it's the scariest part of your team to think is the strength because that thing can go downhill fast. And there's questions about the bullpen. Now you've got questions about Nick Pivetta. So I'm not saying that this is a team that is going to challenge the Dodgers, but I think it's a team that if you thought they were a wild card team, I think that's what this team is.
Kevin, final one for me as well. By the way, there's a beauty in saying that. I mean, they don't have to challenge the best team in Major League Baseball. They just got to be in the mix. So I think that's important. I know to start the season, Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado, all these household big names for the Padres. How has Ramon Laureano, how has that name just kind of started? Do you feel it from a fan perspective? Do you feel it when he comes to bat? Just I hope this guy gets the love that he should be getting because he's off to a great start and he seems like he's just going to be great all season for the Padres.
And he's just he should be one of your favorite players because of how much he cares and how hard he goes, right? And that's why he's gotten 2 days off already. If you go back and you look, this guy has a real injury history. And hasn't, played that much actually, but he plays so hard. Like that 4 or 5 days he got off in spring training was because like he was ready for the season. Like this guy is he's what you want. He's what you think that a major league player should be when, like he should be in Little League. That's what Ramon Laureano reminds me of. Is like a Little Leaguer, man. He's at the ballpark every day and he's just psyched and ready to go and probably kick your ass too. And like he should be one of fans' favorite players. And I thought he was one of the big questions because he had such a good year last year and then was pretty good for the Padres. And can he do it again? Now we haven't seen because it's whatever he is, 13 games. He's played 13 games or whatever it is. But I like to see guys answer the bell, and I think Ramon Laureano is.
Yeah, he's been terrific. He really has. In a Padres uniform, I think he changes everything last year if he's healthy in the postseason, which of course he was not.
Fair.
You know, I mean,
he would have changed how they did their lineup.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just and that 3-game series. I mean, it was on the margins at the end. I mean, it was like one at bat.
Couldn't get any big hits either.
Yeah, exactly.
Machado with the only big hit.
But I'm crying over spilled milk. Kev, we'll do it again later in the week. Appreciate you doing it. Next time, maybe have Fernando with you as well for our listeners.
Yeah, I really disappointed you right from the start. And it kind of threw me off. I'm like, well, I'm supposed to be better than that.
That's my bad. No, you're not. Tatis, no, you're having a similar start to the year as Fernando.
What's going on with the two of you?
I have no idea.
I'm hitting the ball hard.
You are.
He's hit it right at somebody.
You are.
I'm frustrated, but I'm good. But I'm still kind of keeping it in. Which, by the way, I do want to point that out. Like, you can tell Tatis is pissed, or you could before these last couple of days. But honestly, considering what he's done in the past, you haven't seen the past. The guy is still staying engaged, and maybe this weekend showed that he's going to be okay.
You switch from beat writer to columnist. This happens. This happens. Yeah. Look at Tatis. He went from right to second. Whatever. Terrible analogies. Thank you, Kevin. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Kevin.
Or later in the week.
See you guys.
I want to get back to Toddy on the other side and the switch to second for the weekend.
I got to ask too about this whole Acee thing. A little earlier, he came at me with basketball and basically saying like, I don't know. I'm not sure how your weekend was, but
we'll discuss on the other side.
Yeah.
Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Schaefer and Slee with San Diego Sports 760. All right. Mark Medina on the NBA will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Do we have any giveaways today? We're giveaway lists.
Yeah.
That means no giveaways.
Win a dinner with Schaefer.
I'm down.
What's your cell phone number?
Here we go. 610, actually.
610.
And then figure out the other 7 numbers. Just type them all in.
Text John, and he'll take you out. Anytime we don't have a giveaway, John has personally told me he will take listeners out for
So what were you saying?
out.
You were saying I was a little, me and Kevin, it was a little.
Well, it started with you and I when you took an ill-advised cheap shot.
Yeah.
You know,
what did I say again? I said you weren't good at basketball or something.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it was. It was an ill-advised cheap shot. That's what it was. Because if I was 9 years old and I said, hey, I want to be Magic Johnson, I want to start for the Lakers, right? Because at that point, I was at Kennedy Rec Center in El Cajon, and I was balling out at 9.
I know.
At 9, there were some people that were like, hey, have you seen this kid out there? And they
What was the level of competition like? Did a lot of those 9-year-olds go on to like the NBA?
A lot of those 9-year-olds right now are working in construction. They could be working for a sales team somewhere. I don't think those 9-year-olds
like Giannis or Wemby or like Kawhi.
No, that wasn't what we cropped out of El Cajon specifically at that rec center.
Right.
So it started with that, and then Acee comes on, and you basically just not only that, but then you were like, you don't, kind of in a sense saying just bring him on next time, and then you said you're kind of batting the way he is all of a sudden. I couldn't take that
I don't know
as a compliment like the last 2 days or overall how Tatis.
Here's the thing. It's a compliment when I feel like I know someone that I can then take shots at them. I would never do it if I didn't have what I determined to be
rapport.
A rapport.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's like, it's a good thing.
Yeah. That's what that's how somebody usually explains it when they're taking a shot at somebody.
That's
like,
exactly right.
No,
That's exactly right. No, seriously.
I really like the guy.
I can take it too. Like I'll say, like, I can envision a world where you didn't make an NBA roster, right? But you can then say, hey, John, you don't look like a guy that's ever benched like more than the barbell.
I think we did. I did think when you said that you decided you wanted to be a broadcaster at 8 because you weren't going to make it.
Yep.
That clicked for everybody. I think that made sense for everybody.
Was there a moment in time where you knew, serious question here.
Yeah.
You're like, I would like to work in like sports or radio or was it early? Like, was it college?
I'm going to take San Diegans back in the day.
Yeah.
There was a sports radio station here in San Diego, the Mighty 690.
Right.
Or actually, no, it was Extra Sports 690. That's what it was, Extra Sports. I think maybe in the beginning that's what it was.
Okay.
Anyways, long story short.
Like Hartman on there initially?
It was Hartman. Quintero was on there. John Quintero, who I still have a relationship with here today. But I remember one time listening to that station, and they kind of covered all of SoCal. Mm-hmm. So they handled all of Southern California.
Which is not easy, right?
Not easy.
I don't think it's easy.
And they were, that's kind of, that was the station was based here. It was one of the first, the owner at the time was John Lynch. And it was one of the first all sports radio stations in the country. Yeah. I'm not kidding, around like 15, something like that. I'd call in for some of these post games and would got specifically through to John Quintero. I was like, I think that's what I want to do. I think I want to get into sports talk radio.
So you were a teenager. And you're like,
I was a teenager.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's, I mean, I was as well. By the time I was a teenager, I'm like, this is what I want to do. And look at us now.
San Diego's got crazy history with just phenomenal sports radios. Jim Rome at the time. Like there's a lot that started in San Diego.
Schaefer and Sliwa, for example.
Schaefer and Sliwa, honestly, I got to be honest with you real quick. It's still up in the air.
I think the first
Sliwa guys,
2 weeks have been
okay. The Sliwa guy is a little bit of an issue.
Well, we'll see.
A little bit of an issue.
All right. I want to get to Tatis on the other side. Mark Medina is going to join us. Great voice on all things NBA. He'll join us coming up at 5 p.m.
Nobody played this weekend in the NBA. Nobody.
Literally none of the players played in the NBA. We'll ask him why. We'll get into the play-in tournament and the playoff coming up as well with Mark Medina at 5 p.m. The wrap is ahead as well. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer again for our friends at the all-new Humul Casino Resort, the Players Place. And I've been telling you for a long time about the hotel and spa at Humul Casino Resort. You can experience elevated luxury with a refined hotel stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Humul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. You can take your stay to the next level with exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape. Also, you'll love Tony Gwynn's Endless Dining when you're there. Enjoy San Diego's favorite endless dining experience. That's Wednesday through Sunday at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. In addition, make sure to check out Humul 23. They've got a lobster buffet every day. You can enjoy all-you-can-eat lobster plus dozens of other delicious stations. Start your morning with their new signature breakfast buffet Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 10:30, featuring made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, sweet and savory favorites, and more at the all-new Humul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
This report is sponsored by Staples. In NBA news, Luka Doncic is set to return from Spain on Friday to return with the Lakers. He's been overseas getting treatment on his hamstring. His status is still unknown for their playoff series against the Rockets, which begins on Saturday. The Padres are off today. They start a series tomorrow night with the Mariners at Petco Park. It's going to be Brian Wu going for Seattle and Michael King going for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. And in college basketball news, Hall of Famer Dick Vitale announced that he has melanoma. Vitale said today that I've beaten melanoma, lymphoma, vocal cord cancer, lymph node cancer, and I'm 4 for 4 and fully confident I'm going to make it 5 for 5. Vitale is 86 years old. Want a great way to boost your brand? Custom labels at Staples will help packages pop, shipments stand out, and takeout boxes really take off. Shop now through April 18th and save 30% off on all custom labels. Staples, that was easy.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2. Schaefer and Sliwa. Mark Medina on the NBA coming up at 5 p.m. We'll get to the wrap in the next 15 minutes, but I don't think we've really officially broached the topic.
Yeah.
Fernando Tatis Jr. spending the last years. I mean, he's spent years now in right field. Not just years in right field. He won the Platinum Glove for the best fielder in the sport 2 years ago. And then the Padres send out a lineup on Saturday. Oh, look, here's our lineup graphic. Fernando Tatis Jr., second base. No, don't just drop that on us. Like, you can't just, and I don't even think he was the profiled player. They normally highlight one of the 9 and put the picture of the player.
Probably had sheets.
It was like sheets.
It's random.
DH or whatever. And there is Fernando Tatis Jr. And then there's all this discussion. Can he do it? Can he not? Is he miserable in the outfield? Why can't he hit? And honestly, I think it's added fuel that he spends the last 2 days, Allen, playing second base. He combines for 5 hits and a walk. He reached base safely 6 times in, I think, 10 plate appearances. And now you're kind of left asking yourself, well, if you reached base safely 6 times in 2 games, do you find a way to leave him here? Or what comes next for Fernando Tatis Jr.?
Yeah, it's funny. I know there's a lot that was made over the move. And you and I were chatting a little bit earlier. I'm like, okay, dumb this down for me a little bit. They don't have the positional players to make this work, and they're going to need Tatis back in right field.
Right, probably.
But let's just say Tatis, let me play out a scenario for you. Yeah. Tatis goes back to right field and struggling again. So what do you do then? Are you just like taking opportunities when you have second base available? Tatis, hey, we want to make things a little bit more exciting for you, or for some reason, if this sparks something that's not there, or like you mentioned to me this morning when we were talking about his focus is so much on his bat because he's struggling with his bat that if he plays at second, now all of a sudden maybe you're playing your own mind tricks here, and now you're not as concerned about your bat, and maybe now it's becoming a little bit easier for him. I don't know what they do. I'm just assuming that he's going to be back at right field, and the hope is that Fernando Tatis can just understand that it might be better for this team for him to be at right, so then you can have the proper second baseman there, and it's more important for him to start hitting with him at right than to make the justification that put him at second so he can hit.
What if this week he's, to your point, I think he's back in right field, and walk through this theoretical with me. He plays 3 games against the Mariners this week and goes 1 for 13, 2 for 13, whatever, no home runs, maybe a single and a double. At best, mediocre to poor play, right? Over those 3 games, he wasn't hitting the first 14 games of the year. Again, it wasn't forever, but it was 14 games. Doesn't that fuel the fire of when he's in the outfield, he's, pouty. He doesn't want to be there. And it almost now you almost have to find a way to put him in the infield. I recognize 2 games is nothing. I mean, I'm sorry, 2 games.
But for him, it kind of was, right?
It felt like something because now, listen, he has been hitting the ball hard. That's all a player can control. It's not like you can hit the ball hard and automatically get a base hit. I mean, yes, you can hit it over a wall, something I don't even know if he remembers how to do because he hasn't done it this year. But I don't know what to make of it is my point. I really don't. Cronenworth and Bogarts go nowhere. They're not going anywhere. So you're not going to make this exception here for Fernando Tatis Jr., I wouldn't think. It's kind of like, imagine though, like in the real world, if you're like, hey, Schaefer and Sliwa, they don't want to do 3 to 6. Their show's not good. They're like, you could tell they're tired, but man, these guys are
3 to 3:45.
No,
oh my God.
Like, we're like, imagine we go to our bosses, we're like, 3 to 6 just ain't it. Like we're not, we got to do 12 to 3. We got to do 6 to 9 a.m. or 9 to noon. Like trust us. It'll be a lot better. Yeah, but like we don't get to pull those strings. Does he get to pull that string here? Tatis, like I want to be in the infield. I don't think he's doing that, but does he get to do that?
I think he's got pull, no question about it. So I think if they're, let's put it this way. What has Cronenworth done? I'm going to play this just out. What has Cronenworth done with his bat to be like, oh, you can't touch second?
Can't move me.
I think that, clearly it's not like there's an argument to be made that without changing things every once in a while. Here's a question that I'd ask Craig Stammen. I think this is the only thing that matters. What's in the best interest of the team? And that's how he should approach this. And maybe, just maybe, the best interest of the team, like you said, if he goes, this Mariner series goes 1 for 14 or whatever he goes, right? Maybe Stammen says, I'm going to try it again. I have an opportunity here to try it again. Let me see again. if that sample size gets larger and larger to where it's like, hey, Tatis is a much better version of himself. Again, we're both talking out of our what, but he's a much better version of himself at second. Is that enough to say, let me change something? I don't have the answer to that, but I got a feeling that he's going to go back to right field. Maybe every once in a while, he'll get an opportunity to come into the infield for a game here or 2 games there. But at the end of the day, they're going to need him more in right field, and it just makes the lineup better for the Padres. It's more a matter of him producing in the lineup at wherever he's at. That's more important than him, I think, at a positional play somewhere in the infield.
Yeah, it's interesting because you don't typically think in a professional sport, specifically Major League Baseball, not like, you know what? When Manny's at short, he hits, but when he's at third, he doesn't. Like, it doesn't normally correlate like that. You don't say, well, when Mookie Betts, for example, a guy that's, we talked about this even earlier, he's a guy that's played a lot of infield and outfield in his career, but you don't necessarily, or at least I don't, maybe I'm not as close to that as I am to this. I don't necessarily think, well, based on his position is how he will succeed or fail at the plate. But Tatis is a little bit of a unicorn because his career does coincide with his shortstop years is when he hit for power, and his outfield years he hasn't. Now I think it goes well beyond that. I think I could give you a million reasons as to why. His suspension, his health, his injuries, so on and so forth. But I mean, if there's something to the position he fields impacting his bat, I hadn't really necessarily considered it until this past weekend.
I just remember this. I remember there was early in the season, the Padres put Castellanos in left.
Yep.
You took Laureano. Laureano had the day off.
That's right.
And not only has Ramon Laureano been the best bat that the Padres have so far this season, but he's also been really good at left and has been excellent there.
Plays, yeah.
So I think the question becomes, if there was a world where Tatis did come to the infield, you are taking out one of the best right fielders in all of Major League Baseball.
Yep.
So you got to also equate, hey, offense for defense. And you're not guaranteed that he's going to all of a sudden, but who is going to play? What are you doing then with your outfield? Like, what's it going to look like? Where are you going to put Cronenworth? How much does that change the dynamic of how you shift things? And I'll give Stammen this. I think he's tried a lot of different lineups, which I like early in the season, but don't you might get to a stage of the season where you're like, all right, this is going to be our everyday lineup. And I'm imagining that's Tatis and right.
I think it's Tatis and right. I agree. I would never talk about it except they opened up the door.
And he did speak on. And he did really well.
Yeah, that's
which was odd.
But it kind of felt like, of course that what's going to happen. Like on Saturday, I'm thinking to myself, and what's going to happen. They're going to play him at second, and he's going to hit 2 home runs. Now he didn't, but he had 3 hits, and then the next day he had 2 hits. And it's like now you're opening up the second guessing moving forward of Padres fans is what I would say. And for whatever that's worth, it's not worth everything. But again, if he goes back to the right and struggles at the plate, you never would have, if they never put him at second base, you never would be like, well, you got to move him off right field. But now that they've moved him off right field, I think it opens up the Pandora's box of moving to second base.
Yeah, that ultimately, the responsibility is going to lie on Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, completely.
So I think, again, I go back to this. The Padres are playing some good baseball right now. I don't think anyone should take any credit from them. Not that it was perfect, but you got the Xander walk-off, followed by the Sheets walk-off, followed by all of a sudden some pretty good starting pitching. Buehler comes off a nice performance. There's some really good momentum.
Right.
The Pivetta thing is a complete, obviously that one really hurts, and like Acee said, we're gonna sit back and wait. The Tatis just added a wrinkle. You know what's crazy? You come out of the weekend, and usually you might get 1 or 2 really good topics to come out of.
Yeah.
The Padres, it was like
oh my God,
5-6 different things to talk about that it took us an hour to talk about Tatis.
And this is nowhere near as impactful as Pivetta. But to me, it draws a lot of headlines because it's like it's the sexier story.
It's a good point. Like you opened up a conversation that would have never been a conversation.
Now, I could also argue, well, they had no other choice. They don't have a backup middle infielder on their roster. What are they to do? With Jay Cronenworth and Xander Bogaerts are not going to be the only players in baseball to play 162 games.
Sure.
So because they're not going to play 162 games, someone else has to play their position when they don't play. The only player on their team right now that can do it, the Padres deemed, is Fernando Tatis Jr.
So they
They
did
don't
it
have
out of necessity.
because their actual reserve infielder isn't even with them. That's the Korean acquisition they made, Sungmoon Song. Now Tatis told Marty Caswell. By the way, the sound from earlier was courtesy of Marty, so thank you, Marty, for that. From Craig Stammen and also from Nick
Always
Pivetta.
killing it in the locker room is Marty Caswell.
And she had sound from this weekend as well, where on his way off the field, she just asked, "Do you think you'll be playing more of second base moving forward?" And he joked it off as he often does, but he also said, "No, probably not, because we expect to get Sungmoon Song back at some point, and he's an infielder." So this might have just been this really brief moment in time. I would argue, though, if you're going to put Sungmoon Song just on the roster to play backup reserve middle infield, don't put him on the roster and just let Tatis fill that role. Why send someone else down to bring Sungmoon Song up as a defensive replacement or a backup middle infielder if you have Fernando Tatis Jr.?
If Tatis, if his bat was the exact same it's been during the regular season, through the first whatever amount of games that was, then is this just a complete non-starter conversation? Is it just the mere fact that he's been so non-productive offensively,
probably,
that he had 2 good games and he happened to be
at second,
100%. That it opened up a conversation that, and if he had struggled and had no hits, then everybody would have been like, that was cute, go back to right because we need you more in right.
Or the opposite. Let's say in right, in his 14 games, he was hitting .281 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. Then who cares what he does at second base, because he's already performing to a fairly good clip. So he was playing well in right, so put him at second. If he plays well there too, who cares? He's already playing well in right. Nobody's going to say he's playing well because of the move to second base.
Yeah, the foundational conversation here is Tatis, just start freaking hitting.
Just hit, man.
Just hit.
And there is
it took us 13 minutes to get there.
When will you hit your first home run?
Just freaking hit.
I need to see a home run. I said I need to see it in the Colorado series. It didn't happen. Do I need to see it in the Seattle series?
Laureano can't just carry the entire squad.
Yeah, not for 160.
Do your freaking job.
And hit.
I say that with love, Tatis.
Let's get to the wrap. On the other side, plus Mark Medina on the NBA postseason coming up at 5 p.m. The wrap on the other side on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760, Schaefer and Sliwa on this Monday afternoon. Mark Medina has spent his career covering the NBA. He'll join us coming up at 5 p.m. The postseason is here. We're going to hear from Shams with an update on Luka coming up in about 15 minutes. Plus, Ken Rosenthal makes the case why or why not a reliever can or cannot win the Cy Young as it relates to Mason Miller. But right now, let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Is Rory McIlroy the second best golfer in our lifetime behind Tiger Woods?
Oh, interesting.
Right? I'm trying to, Scotty Scheffler's up there right now.
Phil Mickelson was a baller back in the day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those are your probably top.
I'm going to say no. I don't think Rory is. I know what he's accomplished 2 years in a row winning the Masters comes into that conversation. But I got some other golfers in mind. I think Scheffler's been an absolute stud. I just, I think back in the days with Phil Mickelson, he was incredible as well. I'm going to say no. Look at me hating on Rory. I'm not even trying to hate on Rory.
By the way, Phil's career, he had 6 combined majors.
Okay.
Rory's career, now 6 majors. The difference, of course, is Rory could still win more. I mean, Mickelson's done, right? Is he even playing?
I don't think he played. No, he did. I know he didn't play in the Masters.
Done. Yeah. So,
like I said, I'll change my answer.
Rory's 36. So let's give Rory, is it fair to give him 2 more? Because most golfers make their hay by 40. So maybe 2 more is a lot. Maybe that's aggressive. But let's even give him 1 more. 7 all-time majors is like a top 10 accomplishment in golf history.
Well, back-to-back Masters?
Right. It's only been done 4 times. There's only 4 golfers to ever do that. So I'm with you, though. You could make the case for Phil. I think you could make the modern case for Scotty Scheffler. There's others in there as well, I'm sure. But I think Rory's right there.
As time goes by, even if Rory doesn't win another one, we'll appreciate Rory's run more because you'll look back and be like, wait a minute, he did what? I think, honestly, because it's so new that maybe I'm not giving him as much credit as I should.
Scheffler, by the way, 4. Brooks Koepka, 5. But Rory's right there. Next question.
Would you rather see Fernando in the infield or the outfield?
This is a preference question.
Okay, so let's take everything out of the mix. Let's just take let's not worry about right field. Let's not worry about is in the best interest of the team. Let's pretend Xander doesn't exist, Cronenworth doesn't exist. Let's take everything off.
Okay.
I'd like to see him in the infield, and I just say that because he's such an exciting player. He's just going to get more action. And I'm not telling you that that's the right thing to do. Again, we're making this all up. I don't think it makes sense right now. I think I'd rather have him in right, but you just wave a magic wand and it's like put him wherever. Sure, I'd put him in the infield.
I was a fan of him at short, even though he wasn't the greatest shortstop. He made flashy plays. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's this brilliant right fielder. My issue with the outfield is now, and he's making plays over the wall that nobody's making. He had like 6, home run saving plays a year ago.
Plus he's got an arm.
I prefer watching him in the infield, but I also prefer him being healthy. And I don't want to see him make diving plays on the infield, knowing his shoulder histories. And I think that's why they initially put him in right field.
Sure.
Because it's easier to stay on a field. There's less wear and tear on your body in the outfield than there is in the infield. So I'm reserving judgment. I don't have a good feel. I like watching him in the infield, but I think he's a brilliant right fielder. Truthfully, I think his best position he hasn't even played, by and large. That would be center field. It would be my guess, because some of the best outfielders in the history of the game defensively play center and right. So I just think I think he'd be a good catcher. I don't want to see it, but I think he'd be good no matter what position he played, truthfully.
I think he'd be a great insurance agent, too. I think he could do anything.
He'd be a good pitcher. What do you got?
Real quick. Great. Now you got this thing great. You said you wanted to see them in action before you gave an opinion. You saw them on Friday. Do you have an opinion now on the City Connects?
Yeah, I like them. I did the Manny. They're fine.
You want to hear something that I hate to say? Kind of like them more on Twitter and Instagram
than you did on field.
A little bit.
They're
more.
A little reserved.
There was the proper lighting.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, God knows how many shots they took, and then they went out on the field.
You're like, what is this?
No, I didn't hate it, but I feel like I kind of went down a little bit of a notch
compared to the first ones.
Yeah,
I think the second ones are a lot better. That's my opinion. I don't know if everyone agrees with that. Do I think it's a home run perfect uniform? I don't, but I do think it's an upgrade from the first one.
They're undefeated in it. So just
what are they all time?
1-0
or something? That's pretty good.
1-0. Yeah.
Next question.
Does the NBA have a final weekend of the regular season problem?
I saw an article this was on Saturday, I want to say. I couldn't find it because I think the NBA
took it down.
I think the NBA basically threw a cease and desist to everybody and said, you cannot promote that 160 something or 80 something. I don't know how many players it was, Brent, but nobody played over the weekend. Not a soul. And Jokic was there for 18 minutes because he had to hit the 65 game threshold.
Right.
I don't know what to do with this because I know why they're doing it. If you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, I earned the best seed in the NBA.
Right.
If I don't have to play anybody and the seeding is done, why do you want me to play over the weekend? But is anybody happy from a fan perspective or from a network perspective or any of these companies that are paying billions of dollars to carry the NBA? It's not a good look, but I get it from a team perspective.
Yeah, I mean, what do you get? The thing is, you can't control all things if you're a league. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be like, well, here's our answer. If you play your guys the final weekend, you get another lottery ball. Like, at some point, it's too much. Like, you can't have all things work perfectly.
But isn't that crazy that you have to incentivize people just to come to work? It's like literally, John, Slee, if you guys just come in for 5 days this week,
another $100.
we'll give you a bonus.
Gift card. Yeah, I mean, when a league lets 20 of their teams in the playoffs, there's unintended consequences. When 20 of your teams, 20
have a shot at the playoffs.
20.
8 games below 500. Golden State has a shot at the playoffs.
So it's like they kind of created this mess, is what I would say.
I love it.
Well, it goes back to the Draymond clip we played last week when he said we could literally lose our last 15 straight
He was right.
games.
I don't think he was. That was literal.
Yeah.
Well, when you have that scenario, that eliminates any, it's the last day of the season. You know, the Clippers need to win this one to get in. It's like, no, because they've been in for 3 weeks. Everyone's just been biding time pretty much.
Final question.
Should more sporting events prohibit phones like the Masters?
So I asked you about this. So this is a thing? You can't bring it in the Masters?
I believe never.
Okay.
This is like the same rule that applied like in 1970 applies today.
That's legal. We can legally tell people you cannot
think
bring your cell phone.
It's a ticketed event. I would think so.
Okay. If you told me
maybe for an emergency or something. I mean, maybe I'm sure like police have phones.
If nobody has any idea what's going on in the world if you go to the Masters.
Basically,
you have no
saying.
idea. If you told me you were going to a concert, and I think some comedy shows might do this as well. Comedy shows won't allow you to bring a phone in. Years ago,
Right.
I went to a Dave Chappelle concert. It was like, or a show. I mean, you couldn't bring your cell phone in there. I think it will be a more memorable experience if you do it that way. So I'm okay with this. I think we could all kind of have these moments where we didn't bring our phone to an event and we actually probably enjoyed the experience more or was more memorable.
Yeah, like how many times, like today, whether it's a sporting event or a concert, I'll be guilty of this more specifically at a concert. I just hold my phone up and like record the whole
Won't
song
even look.
as if I'm going to play it back for someone. Like, why am I recording 13 minutes of this show? I'm going to
make so much money off this video and you're never going to open it again.
And by the way, it sounds way better when I'm in the venue than when I play it back on my iPhone. Like, that's fine. It's like the jerseys. It's all right.
Yeah, you started the video too
there.
early. You're bringing your phone down to turn out. Like, what are you doing?
The truth is, you should just enjoy it. And there is a part of, like, we all go back to when we were younger and remember it. We see it through like different lenses because now we're older. We have different perspectives. But remember those days where you're just like out and it's late and you're with your friends and you're playing and like you weren't playing on phones. You weren't connecting with others on social media. You were just in the moment. Like it was just authentic. We have lost that. I don't know if 7-year-olds have. I
think we've all lost. It's impossible. We are living through our phone.
It is literally impossible.
Which is why I thought it was a little weird. Brent kind of threw a rule out today. He said, both of you keep your phone in the car. And I'm like, Brent, just I'd like to have it with me. He put his foot down.
We should have a day.
Yeah.
Account because we have computers, but no phone day. No phone Friday.
No phone Friday.
For our listeners, for us in the studio, for anyone in America. Let's get an update on Luca's health.
If you are in your car,
you cannot use your phone.
Put your phone in the trunk.
Which you should do anyway. An update on Luca from Shams on the other side. Plus, could a reliever ever win a Cy Young again? From Ken Rosenthal Coming up this hour, Mark Medina will join us on the NBA at 5 p.m. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. In NBA news, Luka Doncic is set to return from Spain this Friday. He's been overseas getting treatment for his hamstring injury. His status is still up in the air, though, for the team's playoff series against the Rockets, which will begin Saturday night. The Padres are off today, but they start a series tomorrow night at Petco against the Mariners. It's going to be Brian Wu going for Seattle and Michael King on the hill for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760. Mark Medina gets us ready for the NBA playoffs coming up in about 30 minutes. We'll hear from Ken Rosenthal on Mason Miller's Cy Young candidacy. I know it's been 2 weeks, but on Mason Miller's start to his year coming up in about.
You already locked it up, I think.
Oh, it's done. He's thrown 7 1/3 innings. What else does he need to do? He struck out
NL West
19.
Padres already got the NL West.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the NL West.
Completely agree.
What's the all you need in 2 weeks?
I'm 100% with you. We're going to hear from Shams here on Luka. I guess we can hear from Shams, then react as the Lakers get ready to start the postseason this weekend. Is Luka going to be a part of it or not? Here's the latest from Shams.
I'm told that Luka Doncic is traveling back to the United States from Spain later this week and rejoining the Lakers on Friday. But over the last week in Spain, the majority of that time, he's been getting treatment on that hamstring. He's had multiple injections as well to see, can he promote healing? Can he quicken the timeline of his return? It is a grade 2 hamstring strain. And on the other side, Austin Reeves, grade 2 oblique strain. Initially in early April, his timeline was 4 to 6 weeks. That would put him out at minimum the first week of May. And so both of these guys going into the playoffs, there's an expectation that they will be sidelined for an indefinite period of time. Just how soon? They're both obviously trying to get back ASAP.
Well, all right. So, yesterday was the final game of the regular season. And I think, honestly, probably the biggest storyline going into the playoffs. You can say Wemby and the Spurs. You could say Jason Tatum joining the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
You could say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But every time I look at or I hear any conversation about the NBA, there's such a thirst for Luka join the Lakers or not.
Right.
And by the way, if he was with the Lakers, they would have played Sunday at 12:30. They're not. They're playing
Saturday night.
Now, that could be some playing stuff, but I don't think it is. They're going to play Saturday night. They're just the NBA is just so dependent on can Lakers make a run, and they're a good story. I mean, they actually are a good story. I don't think this is forced. I just don't see how there's a world that Luka comes back in the first round, but the fact that he's going to be there, probably on the sidelines, see if this team can just prolong the series as long as they can against the Rockets. It's going to be fascinating to watch. At the same time, I do feel like it's going to be a stretch to try to get somebody to, especially a guy like Luka Doncic with a calf strain. It's like, or a hamstring strain. You're going to get this guy back, and all of a sudden he just jumps into the playoffs, and it's like, go play the Rockets, who got one of the best defenses in the NBA.
It's interesting you put it that way because, I was always wondering, like, well, first of all, you're talking about an elite player. So maybe, at this level, this specimen can maybe do something like that. It seems almost impossible.
But can I just say, like, does it feel like if it was LeBron, it might be different?
Yeah, honestly.
But I say that just because Luka's not known for his body.
Right. But hear me out. What if, let's say he just misses this series.
Okay.
And most people then would assume, well, they're not winning this series. But what if they do? I mean, they've got home court, for example. Let's say they finagled their way to a series win, maybe against all odds. Is it an impossibility for that to happen, or is it just unlikely?
I would say this. I would say if the Houston Rockets cannot beat the Los Angeles Lakers without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, I would be questioning how Ime Udoka is the head coach of the Houston Rockets.
Interesting.
I would be questioning how, there's a lot of chatter around Kevin Durant that, hey, the only 2 championships that this guy got, it was with the Warriors when they were already stacked. I'm getting ready to jump on that bandwagon as well, if that's the case.
Have you seen the betting odds? But yeah, continue.
Actually, I'm curious to hear the betting odds. The only other thing I'll say that I think is interesting, like I hear a lot of these experts right now talking about how here's LeBron's chance. He can carry the Lakers. He can, it's set up perfect for him, all this stuff. I'm like, LeBron was not supposed to come at age 41 and save the Lakers. By the way, if you told me LeBron has a phenomenal series against Houston, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Okay.
If this dude's 28, 8-8, it's like, how is this man still doing this at 41? He was doing this at 35. But they're not going to win a series against the Houston Rockets because LeBron played well. They're going to win a series against the Rockets because the LeBron played well is like, just that's given. It's all these other guys that had to step up to win a series against you. DeAndre Ayton, Luke Kennard, Rui Hachimura. You'd have to go down a long list if they're supposed to win that series.
Is there another example in modern basketball history of the road team in a best of 7 series being minus 800? Because that's what Houston is. Minus 800. The Lakers are plus 550 to win the series. Minus 800 is, to your point, it's basically saying fire everyone if you can't get this done. That's what they're saying. They're saying the Rockets should win this series 8 out of every 9 times.
Take any sport, but we'll stay the NBA because we're having this conversation. Take the best player off of their team and the third best player on their team and say,
go get it done.
Right. Like Redick said this over the weekend. This was, I think, the game after the Suns game on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we know everyone's would love to play the Lakers. Of course they would. Do you care? Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
The San Diego Padres are going into a playoff series.
Right. We've had this talk. You're saying, do I care who they play?
not do I care who they play, but like there's nothing you can do if the squad they're playing against is missing an ace and is missing their best bat. Listen, I'm not telling you I want to see it, but what I'm telling you is if that's the case, there's nothing I can do about it. The Padres still got to go out there and win. I've seen the San Diego Padres have injuries at the worst part of the season and probably lost the series because of those injuries. We had Acee on. You mentioned Laureano. We forgot about Jason Adam. Adam obviously being out. So the teams are they're gonna take advantage of your weaknesses, or they're gonna take advantage of your injuries. Houston's going to try to take advantage of the Lakers' injuries.
I mean, we go back to the Raptors with Kawhi over the Warriors. And yeah, everyone brings up, but like if you're a Warriors fan, you'll bring up, well, they weren't healthy, right? Like KD was out. Who else was out? Clay?
Clay was out after game 6, maybe.
But at the end of the day, honestly, if the Padres win the World Series against, name the team, and that team is without their ace or without their best offensive weapon, honestly, I don't care. They won the World Series. Would you prefer the Padres play the healthy Yankees and lose the World Series, or play the banged up Yankees and win the World Series?
There's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
however you win it, you win it.
Fault that someone got hurt.
However you win it, you could win. Now, if it was like a dirty play from a player, that's a different conversation. But that's not what we're talking about.
No.
We're literally talking about a guy that, with Luka Doncic, he didn't get touched. It's his hamstring. That's what the injury was.
Yeah, that's part of sports.
And the Rockets can say, Fred VanVleet, who was, you go back to that Toronto team, that's supposed to be their starting point guard this year. They haven't had him all season.
Yeah.
So you think they're going to sympathize with them? They're going to be like, we didn't have our starting point guard all year.
I mean, at the end of the day, we talk about this all the time. Like these teams that hoist trophies, they're remembered for forever. They're also, I don't know if the fans of these teams like to think of it this way. Some of it is the product of circumstance. The teams that advance or don't, a lot of it is outside of everyone's control, right? You have a year you head into the postseason healthy. You have a year you head into the postseason unhealthy. You lose Tyrese Halliburton in the 7th.
Do you think
game.
the Indiana Pacers are saying to themselves, like, what could have been?
And also, do you think any Oklahoma City fan is like, you know what, we won it, but I wish we could do it again. I wish Halliburton was out there. Nobody even remembers it. I mean, of course, Pacer fans do. Of course, diehard Thunder fans understand the circumstance that played out, but they're not rocking their championship T-shirts because Halliburton got hurt.
There's a great saying, and you and I have heard it because we've been around sports our entire lives. You don't have to be the best team. You got to be the healthiest and the hottest at the right time.
And take advantage of the opponent that you're facing, right? The path.
1,000%. And the Lakers are running into a situation where they will be at their worst health at the wrong time. That also can determine and dictate what your season is. And, Acee said this about Nick Pivetta.
Yeah.
The only benefit of having what happened to Nick Pivetta yesterday was it happened in April. Because what you can't do anything about is in a wild card game, Joe Musgrove is out and you move on to the next round. There's nothing you could do. This is
true.
And I think and again, just using these injuries as an example. So yes, the Rockets are going to be heavy favorites to beat the Lakers. And if they can't, you and I may replace Ime Udoka as the head coach of the Rockets. Because I think we have
I don't know if I want that job. Because KD.
Is it the pay? What is it?
I just don't want to deal with KD.
You just don't like the future?
I just don't want to do that.
I got a good idea.
I think being a head coach in the NBA is not glamorous.
I got a better idea. We take over the job at Houston. We bring them back to San Diego, San Diego Rockets.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what we're going to do. Love that. All right.
Every angle.
I love it. Mark Medina with much more, by the way, on the NBA postseason that kicks off with the play-in games. Coming up this week, he'll join us at 5 p.m. On the other side, Ken Rosenthal weighing in on Mason Miller and whether or not a reliever could ever win Cy Young again. You'll hear what he had to say. Coming up next on Schaefer and Sliwa here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, Schaefer and Sliwa. We've got Mark Medina, who has spent a long time covering the NBA, joining us in about 14 minutes. We're here until 6 on San Diego Sports 760.
We should ask Medina just like randomly, hey, your thoughts on Pivetta?
We should. Yeah, we should just like completely avoid the NBA.
Bring up the NHL and just say, hey, what your thoughts right now on the Western Conference?
Be like, it's interesting. Well, can we talk to him about the WNBA draft? We probably could. He covers the NBA, but that's playing out right now.
Pick a name that's like going number 12.
Yeah, be like, are you surprised where the Mercury went there? At
yes.
6?
Yes.
Talk to him about the World Cup, but nothing about the NBA or the playoffs or the play-in.
Bring up a lot of politics.
Yeah, exactly. Old Jonah's coming up in about 15 minutes.
I don't think we would have him back on if we did that.
Not.
I think he would then say, I'm good.
So we know that a lot of Padres fans are not exactly enamored with Ken Rosenthal. And a lot of it stems back to 2021 at the deadline, Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
Makes sense,
of
right?
Course it
You're going to
makes
hold a grudge, and that's been about 5 years. I'm not saying he went further here, but I mean, there's so many examples with Rosenthal. The sinister sling of Manny Machado when he like threw the ball towards the Dodgers dugout.
Which I didn't like, by the way, but.
What, he had to write about it or Machado's throw to the
dugout? I would prefer Machado does not throw the ball towards that direction and wake up anybody over there.
Oh,
that would be my preference.
Okay.
That would be my preference.
Neither here nor there right now.
But we'll go back to Rosenthal for a quick second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like there is this, I was going to ask you because when you said it, and I've heard a lot of, I'll take even all other San Diegans out of the mix.
Okay.
For me, that day was such a wild exchange of emotions. I'm like, yeah, I'm just never going to stand. It's funny when I was doing LA radio and I brought it up because at that time it was all going down. And where did these guys all end up? They ended up on the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I started that grudge. And the guy that I do the show with, he's like, you're still bringing up the Rosenthal. I'm like,
yeah,
did something change?
Yeah, why wouldn't I bring it up?
Why would I not bring it up?
Well, he went down a path here about the Cy Young with relievers because of Mason Miller. And his angle honestly surprised me. I don't think it's going to, again, enamor Padres fans either. Take a listen to this.
A story one of my colleagues at The Athletic wrote, Dennis Lynn, about the possibility, just the thought, of Mason Miller winning the Cy Young Award. Now, the comments to Dennis's article were fairly negative, and basically all of them were saying, it's early, man. We can't talk about this yet. I get it. It is early to talk about Mason Miller winning the Cy Young Award, but really I want to talk about the concept now of a reliever winning the Cy Young Award, and can it happen? Because that is an issue we may see come up at some point, whether Mason Miller continues this incredible start to the season or not. And I'm going to suggest to you that we're not going to see a reliever win the Cy Young Award ever again. And I'll tell you why as we go through it. Now, let's talk about relievers winning the Cy and how often it has happened in baseball history. Not often. In fact, not since 2003, when Eric Gagne went 55 for 55 in save opportunities. That's right, kids. 55 for 55 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was a year that was such an outlier, so brilliant that, yes, he won the Cy Young Award. But you go to 2016, Zach Britton for the Orioles, a 0.54 ERA, wasn't even in the top 3. Now, here's Miller. Let's show you his stats so far, just to show why this is even a thought in people's heads, if it's a thought at all. His stats are incredible. 7 1/3 innings, 19 strikeouts out of 24 batters faced. Obviously, he has not allowed a run yet. Now, if he continues this run throughout the whole year, yeah, we've got something to talk about. But, of course, Paul Skeens and Christopher Sanchez and all the other great starters in the National League are going to have something to say about that. The biggest reason why I don't think a reliever will ever win a Cy again is because there are awards now for relief pitchers. In the National League and American League, we have the Trevor Hoffman Award. We have the Mariano Rivera Award. These awards came to pass in 2014. That's when they were introduced. And because relievers have their own awards, now there is a clear spot for them. In addition to those 2 awards, the Baseball Writers Association of America this year, 2026, is introducing its own Reliever of the Year awards for both leagues as well. So by the end of the year, there will actually be more awards for relievers than starting pitchers if you reserve the Cy Young for starting pitchers.
I here's why I disagree. He said in there he doesn't think a reliever will ever
happen. Yeah.
I mean, to make such a strong statement to me is going too far. I'm not here to tell you Mason Miller is definitely winning the Cy Young. I do think he'll at least garner consideration if his year is anything like the first 16 games of the season that the Padres have played. Yeah, I can't guarantee that he wins it, but I would say this. If Miller somehow did this, by and large, for 162 games, I'd be shocked if he wasn't right there to win the award. Is he not going to win it because there's a Trevor Hoffman award? Like that's the reason why you can't win the Cy Young.
I think that's kind of the reason. Like, I think the concept that he's explaining is this will be an award specifically to recognize the reliever. Exactly. So I think that's his exact point. Now I'm listening to him and I'm trying to decipher if Jeff Passan is telling me this. I'm not kidding.
Right.
I really am saying this. Am I feeling, do I understand it more?
Right.
I don't think the fact that it is Ken Rosenthal, Kevin
Acee?
Ken Rosenthal, the fact that it's him saying it, I want to try to decipher that, and I can. I don't think his point's that crazy. Because I think a lot of people right now are mentioning it. And yeah, they should be mentioning it as early because it is freaking, way too early to be talking about a Cy Young Award potential winner. But I get where he's coming from. I don't, I understand where he's coming from. Can it potentially happen? Maybe more in the past if these awards didn't exist. But I think his exact point is that's why these awards are here.
Well, let me say this. For example, in football, in the NFL, there's the offensive MVP, right? The offensive player of the year, and then there's the league MVP. Because basically the league MVP, and I'm trying to pull it up right now, has been won by quarterbacks, right? No matter what a running back does, you run for 2,000 yards. A receiver catches 140.
Tight end has an amazing season. Sure.
So I'm looking right now. The last non-quarterback to win MVP was 2000. It was an Aztec for life, Marshall Faulk. That's the last wrong. Adrian Peterson in 2012. So that's my point. Yes, the NFL is an offensive player of the year. So I'm not saying
you can have 25 years go by, but you could have two running backs that won it.
But okay, so
but what you're saying is it can happen.
It's still, and I would be shocked if in the history of the league there won't be another non-quarterback to win the award. Is my only point. I get it. 9 and 10 will be quarterbacks, maybe 19 and 20. 9 and 10,
but 1 and 10
Youngs
won't, and that 1 and 10 could be
Mason Miller.
An unbelievable season that no closer has had since.
How could you discount it? If Eric Gagne went 55 for 55, forget about Mason Miller. If anyone goes 50 for 50 with a .61 ERA, he's not going to be right there because why? I mean,
you can have also down years from other starting pitchers. It could be kind of a combination of the two.
If anything, starters don't work as long as they used to. They don't work deep into games. They don't earn as many wins.
Sure.
So when I'm looking at a guy that's 9 and 9, that's Paul Skeens, he's 9 and 9 with a 2.12, or a guy with 51 saves and a .7, I think he'll warrant a lot of consideration.
I think your overall point is you can't say it will never happen when you have someone like Mason Miller who's putting together such an unbelievable start, which is not a shock, by the way, because of just how great he is. Well, if he can do this for the length of a season and the Padres ball out this year, and he does save a ton of games this year, and they're meaningful games, and the squad is in the postseason, you can't say never.
Yeah, I want to save that because let's say Mason Miller does go on to win the Cy Young. Again, 90% of the season in front of him. I don't think it's ever going to happen again till he does it 5 months later. I'm just saying right now, I feel like it is at least a possibility, as in it's not impossible. He's saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's possible.
Might be the messenger. Could be the messenger.
It's probably the messenger, honestly. Mark Medina has covered the NBA for his career. He'll join us on the other side. We'll talk about the way the regular season finished, this play-in tournament coming up, and the playoffs that start this weekend in the NBA. He'll join us next on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. In NBA news, Luka Doncic is set to return from Spain this Friday. His status is still unknown, though, for the team's playoff series against the Rockets, which begins on Saturday. The Padres are off today, but they start a series tomorrow night at Petco against the Mariners. It's going to be Brian Wu going for Seattle and Michael King on the hill for San Diego. First pitch is set for 6:40. More pots, more plants, more deals. It's Giving Springfest at Lowe's. Save on gardening staples with Stay Green Premium 2 cubic foot mulch, 5 bags for $10. Plus get select 1 pint annuals for $1, valid through 4/22. While supplies last, the selection varies by location, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
All right, final hour. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. I'm taking listeners behind the curtain for a moment.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Mark Medina on.
Yeah, he's gonna
covers
join
the
the show.
NBA, and you just gave Brent the phone number, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I know Brent called a different number initially is because I'm looking at the rundown that has a different phone number to the one you just gave Brent. You had one number off.
So my initial email was a number off. Is that what we're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay.
So now we've got Mark Medina with us because now Brent called the right number. So
Yeah.
whoever Brent called previously is not going to join us right now. Didn't pick up. But Mark Medina is with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Postseason is here. Mark, appreciate you hopping on. A lot of chatter, obviously, over the final week of the regular season about all the players around the league sitting. Regarding that, I guess not do you have a solution for it, but do you have an issue with these teams that wrapped up seeds positioning themselves for what's to come here over the next week plus?
Yeah, I understand why they did it within the framework of the standings. If your seed solidified, you value health. But look, there wasn't this huge epidemic going on where mysteriously all these injuries happen at once. It's because of the standings. So it doesn't sit well with me that as much as the play-in tournament helped produce more competition and widen the field for teams 1 through 10, if you look at literally the teams 11 through 16, their record is really, really bad. Like there's some double-digit discrepancy between 10 and 11. And so I think that's one of many reasons why NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says that they are taking this problem head on and they want to solve it. But given what their proposals are, I do have skepticism on whether they'll actually address the issue at hand.
You know, Mark, it's interesting because John and I have talked about this. And look, I love the NBA, so I'm going to watch. But if you're not this diehard NBA fan and you go look at a lot of the media around the NBA, like you mentioned, Adam Silver, and there's just a number of things. We could talk about tanking. We could talk about, I don't know why the All-Star game's always made a big deal, but it is made a big deal. Like we could look at 3, 4, 5 different things of everything around the NBA. What's the one thing that you do think is most important the league is going to have to eventually change to not only grow their base, but not anger some of the fans that do love the game?
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the main things because that has taken away from the otherwise very positive part of the league where there is a lot more parity. There's a lot of good young teams, a lot of experienced teams, and that's made for, really robust matchups this regular season. For all the talk about, the games don't matter as much anymore, there's been a lot of marquee games this season. The problem is all those top teams inevitably have to play the tanking teams, and those become unwatchable. So you can't have 2/3 of the league be really, really, really good and 1/3 of the league be really, really, really bad because anytime a tanking teams plays each other, it's unwatchable. Anytime a tanking teams plays a really good game, it's kind of a waste of time. So I think that's part number one. I think part number two is we've seen the 65-game rule clearly not fully address the problem. The spirit of it was let's improve player availability, but the numbers that I've gotten is that it's only improved marginally, a few single-digit percentage points. And players are still not available in marquee national games. And it's also created this kind of arbitrary rule now that to be eligible for awards, you have to play 65 games. And you look at the history of the NBA for MVP voting, Bill Walton's the only player in the history of an 82-game season that won MVP after playing fewer than 60 games. So availability was always that, but I think on the other side of the coin, the players can only cry victim so much because the players union collectively bargained and agreed to this proposal. And, the all-NBA conversation, those have always been, kind of contracted incentives type bonuses. So I do have some sympathy, but only going so far, because this conversation is a much different conversation than if we're talking about players and guaranteed contracts and protecting themselves from, unforeseen circumstances with injuries. They're already protected with that they have less ground to complain if they're, missing out on financial bonuses.
It's kind of a fascinating conversation. Mark Medina covers the NBA with us right now on Schaefer and Sliwa. I mean, we've talked about tanking for years. Now the commissioner says they'll get a handle on it. We'll see if that plays out. We've talked in more recent years about, you have people spending thousands of dollars to take their families to games. My wife just went to a Clippers Thunder game the other night. She got lucky because the Thunder needed the game to clinch the West, but you're spending all this money and then you get there and you're not seeing, like you're in Los Angeles, you're not seeing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I get it. He played, but that example, or you're in Oklahoma City and you're not seeing LeBron James, for example.
By the way, he's the one
that will play,
but that's the old school part of him, right? Like he's the one that he's got nothing left to prove. He's been in this league for 23 years. He's playing a second of a back-to-back.
So, I guess the point being, though, if this has played out and permeated for so long, and the fans, are putting up with it, because I still look at there's 15, 20,000, whatever, 20,000 people at these games, or the TV deal is $77 billion, as in, do they even need to make the change considering the success of the league?
Well, and that's the tough thing, because I think the NBA will feel justified with it because their financial numbers are fine. I mean, they just negotiated a new media rights deal, 11 years, $77 billion, but it's changed the identity of the league. I mean, I don't think it's good for any professional league, even though, they want to make money, they want to be profitable, that sporting events just becomes a tax deduction for businesses and becomes a glorified convention center. Like, you want to have middle-class families being able to reasonably afford the price of what a sporting event experience is, with reasonable ticket prices, parking, and concessions. So I think with this, I'm not trying to act like the NBA shouldn't run a business, but there should be a sweet spot where they find enough revenue streams that they continue to make money, but they're not making it so unaffordable that really the 1% are the only one that can afford going to a game. And because of that, it can really change the identity for the fan experience.
Mark Medina taking some time to join us here on the Schaefer and Sliwa show. Of course, San Diego Sports 760. Mark, regular season wrapped up yesterday. I got a question specifically on the Lakers. We were just looking at some of the odds against the Houston Rockets. And if we just assume that Luka Doncic is not available in the first round, and there's no guarantee, but obviously for him to come back with the hamstring injury that he has, it's going to be tough. They're not expecting to have Austin Reeves. Is there a world that the Houston Rockets don't beat the Los Angeles Lakers 4 times with these 2 injuries? I'd be shocked if that isn't the case. Not to offer no hope to Laker fans, but the reality is just those are just such devastating injuries, obviously at the wrong time.
Yeah, a great point, Alan, and that's why my pick is the Rockets beating the Lakers in 6 games. As much as we talk about the Lakers' resurgence in March, with LeBron embracing playing a third option and their role players improving their game and them surprisingly becoming a pretty elite defensive team in the month of March to get a 15-2 record and some marquee wins. It all started with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, which is how brilliant they are as scorers and how well they coexist. But there is a pathway that the Lakers can beat the Rockets. It starts with LeBron, with his experience playing the number 1 option. And I think because of Luka and Austin being out, likely for the first round, everyone else thinking that they have to put that all hands on deck approach and really embracing the fact that they have to be the scrappy, grinding, fight for every possession type team. And the Rockets, they've had a history of imploding. Kevin Durant still played at a high caliber level, not always the most efficient though. And their young players have also unraveled at inopportune times. And that's created a lot of turnovers. It's created a lot of inconsistent 3-point play. But why I don't think it's going to be as severe as it was earlier in the season, the Rockets have been on the up and up. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. They've gotten better on the same page after having some blow-up issues with their consistent play. So because of all that, you add all the variables, I do think the Lakers win in 6, or the Rockets win in 6. But if I'm proven wrong, I'm not going to be completely shocked just because of all the moving parts.
Well, I'll just say this, Mark, too. I mean, let me be very clear here. If Lakers had Luka or AR, I think they're winning the series. And it's just the timing of when this happened obviously couldn't be worse. And all they got to do is just keep it interesting. And who knows what can happen if they extend the series.
Let me ask you this.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, finish your point, Mark. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, without a doubt, Alan, but I think the thing that, not to throw extra salt in the wound for Laker fans, but before Luka's injury, before Austin Reeves' injury, they were really, really struggling against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think that showed that regardless of how well the Lakers have been playing to get to that, having home court advantage and, arguably could have had a number 3 seed if those players didn't get hurt. There's still such a huge gulf between the Thunder and the Lakers that all it's saying up is a quick exit in the second round.
The other side of the conversation in LA, the Clippers, I mean, they start 6-21. They end up securing the 9 seed. I guess it's twofold. Do you see them coming out of this as in winning the 9-10 and then winning on the road against the loser of 7-8? And would you be looking at a shorter than a 6-game series against Oklahoma City if they do advance?
Yeah, I think exactly. I don't think that they have any chance in beating the Thunder. I think the best case is 6 games just because they've been on the up and up second half of the season. But it's going to be likely 5 games because the Thunder are that good. They just have so much reinforcements, and the Clippers are going to have a lot of recovery time. Now, as it pertains to play-in tournament, I think that this is very intriguing because I think literally anything can happen with Clippers Warriors on Wednesday because the Warriors are number 10 because they had all these unforeseen injuries with Jimmy Butler's ACL, Moses Moody being out. But they still feel they have a shot because they have this guy named Steph Curry, and he can go off at any moment's notice. Draymond Green, he's still playing at a high enough level that he could get his 10th all-defensive first team. But the Clippers, if it wasn't for their 6-21 start, they'd be considered one of the best teams in the NBA. So, yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they beat the Warriors and then they would then face the winner of Phoenix, Portland on the road. I think the Clippers can do that, and it helps they have a healthy Kawhi Leonard. Ty Lue's a great coach at making in-game adjustments, but there's not enough to really beat the Thunder. But I think in fairness to the Clippers, the Thunder have shown that there's just this huge gap between them and everyone else. I mean, the Spurs, I think, could challenge them. Same thing with the Nuggets. But when you're looking at Thunder to the second tier of the Western Conference and certainly playing type teams, it's just a huge other level that the Thunder have going against those opponents because of their depth, continuity, and overall talent.
Mark, final one for me. We got about 60 seconds here. Just if you're taking a team out of the Eastern Conference, who you putting your money on?
Well, Laker fans are probably upset with this segment already because we've been predicting their first round exit. Well, they're going to be more upset. I think the Boston Celtics are going to the NBA Finals.
I agree.
They're number 2. Detroit's number 1, but Detroit, Kate Cunningham, he's had some eggs in games. Their 3-point shooting's been inconsistent. The Celtics, I think the bigger part is I think Jason Tatum's going to take his game to another level where he's scoring more, he's shooting more efficiently, and Jaylen Brown has the experience of accommodating the game around Jason Tatum. And the Celtics, they're just really well coached. All their role players have excelled, and the East is fairly volatile. So I think with that, it's going to be Celtics Thunder in the NBA Finals, and I think the Thunder will wind up repeating.
I kind of like Hornets Clippers, but I could see.
John is going a little bit out of the box. He's got
the 2-9 seed squaring off.
Yes,
game one in
that's
Charlotte.
what he sees.
Can't wait to see that game in Charlotte.
I will say this: they're not going to square off, but there could be a case which team of those are the most exciting playing teams. I mean,
I like that.
These games are going to be exciting to watch. Just they won't be competing for a trophy.
Yeah, no doubt. Mark, appreciate you doing it today in San Diego. Enjoy the playoffs.
I appreciate you guys. Likewise.
All right, good stuff. We'll get back to the Padres on the other side. We'll hear from Kevin Acee. If you missed our conversation earlier, you'll hear from Kevin coming up at 5:30 here until 6. Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. All right, San Diego Sports 760, Schaefer and Sliwa, Kevin Acee. If you missed him earlier, you'll hear a conversation coming up in about 10 minutes. So we were having a conversation.
We should just call him again right now.
Should we call him? We'll call him at 5:30. Maybe things have changed. we were having a conversation earlier about whether you should go to the gym or not, but then we were having a conversation off air about the way we appreciate Costco. Because I was saying I like Costco, like kind of like Manny likes the City Connects. It's all right.
Yeah.
The only reason I say that, I like when I'm in Costco, but I don't like parking at Costco.
How do you like them?
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah, it's all right. you know?
Okay.
But you told me you have a parking solution.
First off, where our conversations go during the break, today officially is like 10 shows because we missed one day. For us having 10 shows under our belt, our conversations off the air are really all over the place.
All over the place.
Like they're sort of small talk, but they're not really small talk.
We've covered everything.
We're hitting on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So Costco, however it came up.
Yeah.
What's your problem with the Costco parking? What's the problem?
Honestly, it gives me anxiety.
Okay.
Like legitimately, because some of them, now one in Mission Valley has a good amount of parking.
Yeah.
Right here. But there's another one I go to.
But
in
every
North County.
Costco, it's like
in North County, there's 12 spots. Like the place holds 50,000 people.
Sure.
And there's like
and
16
4 of
spots.
them are for like the dentist office next to it.
Do you know-
It's like you can't even get in there.
Legit, there's 62 spots. I'm
All
like,
right.
there's 40,000
All right.
people. in there.
Here's what I want to know, because I think we all run into this. Because there's 2 different types of people in life. And
Are
I
there?
think you could find out a lot based on what the approach is for
Okay.
parking. Okay. When you go somewhere, it could be whatever it is. You can go to a grocery store. You can go, where do you typically, what's your kind of game plan when you go park? Because I have a game plan.
I find an open spot
Yes.
and then I park in it.
Okay. Are you waiting for a spot? How
No.
close are you getting to a spot?
I don't wait.
I cannot stand the people that have decided I'm going to wait for the closest spot and I'm just going to sit there with my blinker. And then they're also hoping that somebody just happens to be in their lane and
Right.
everything. Do me a favor, everybody.
No.
Go to
Keep
the end of the
moving.
parking lot.
Yeah.
There's spots there. By the time you get into the spot that you want to get
You
into,
could already be in the
you're
store.
already walking with
I
your
agree.
cart. So for Costco, park as far as you possibly can. And I guarantee you'll have less anxiety when you're going in.
No, I would agree with that. Once I'm in it, I love it. I mean, it's fascinating. Like,
But parking's a big part of it.
because sometimes maybe you want a lot of cheese and you want a pinball machine.
Yeah.
Like everyone's been there. You're like, I need a pinball machine and I need cheese.
100%.
Right. So you
I
pick up the
need
pinball
a
machine.
tire,
Correct.
but I also need
the Topps 26 Series 1 baseball boxes.
I also need skinless chicken breast. Because that typically, because I'll get an L-shaped couch, but I'll also get some creatine. Actually,
Right.
I don't know if they sell creatine there.
I did find
trail
it
mix.
interesting.
Trail mix.
I've only been you've been a member for how long?
Years, man. I mean,
Years,
I
right? So you go
honestly,
way back.
yeah, like talking to you, it's a little interesting that you've only been a member for under a year.
Like 8 months.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I didn't realize the
Kind of
first
look down on you.
which is fair. The first time I went in one, no joke, I think was probably like 8 months ago. And they're like, do you need like your house painted? I'm like,
Everything.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
How are your
I want,
eyes?
like,
You want
eggs.
glasses? You want glasses?
Yeah.
We got glasses for you right here on the
No,
left.
I wanted like eggs.
Mhm.
Like I'm not necessarily looking for new finish of my patio.
Yep. And you're going to also have eggs when you buy it for there. If you get egg whites, you can have egg whites for 6 months.
Well, you got a lot of
Because they're
eggs.
going to come in one
The
box
thing-
with 6 cartons.
Well, why? Here's the thing. You don't have kids.
Yeah.
So do you need, like I only have one kid. I don't even feel like half the time I need what Costco is offering.
There's essentials that you can get
True.
from there.
Yeah, you get all the things.
There's
Yeah.
essential stuff that you could throw in the freezer that you're good
Yeah.
on.
And
you don't got to
you're
worry
right.
about.
Or like snacks or something like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Parking. Just trust me. You're
Park
gonna.
far
It's
away?
gonna be a lot easier for you if you just park far.
Okay.
Park far.
Yeah. No, but do you agree in general that it's like a turnoff when you shop when it's annoying to go to a parking lot? Like there's certain parking lots I know in San
Yeah, no,
Diego
you're-
that
you're-
I
you're right on
just
that.
can't stand.
Okay. Go to a baseball game. Go to Petco Park. Right.
Yeah.
It's not like parking is not a headache. It's a
Oh, yeah, it's a
freaking
good point.
headache.
It's a good point.
And it's expensive. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
with
good
you on
point.
that. Any
That's
of
a good
those
point.
types of things, that's a headache.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I'm the same way about the Vons on 30th Street. It's the closest
Because of
Vons
the
to my
parking.
house. Yes. But the parking lot's
Yeah, it's
always
freaking call out Vaughn's on 30th
Yep.
Street. Figure out your parking.
Yep. Get it straightened out.
They were going to be
How the hell are we going to get
But yeah, I can't stand that parking lot. It's always crammed. People don't park between the lines, so sometimes it's like someone will park like a jerk, and then they'll screw everything up for it. Like causes a chain reaction,
Right.
But it's bad enough that like I will go 7 miles out of the way instead of going
Someone
there.
else.
Not parking between the lines, it truly is a crime.
But here's the thing, though.
No,
Can
no,
I make
no.
a point? And we'll hear from. Here's the thing.
Are you going
I'm
to say
a-
like
I'm
the
a-
line? Are you going to say the spots are small?
No.
What are you
Because
gonna
I
say?
will park at a parking spot. I'm pro parking between the two lines.
You should be.
But what if the guy next to me parked out of turn, so to speak, and now I'm parking out of turn? He leaves. You see
Yeah.
my car, like Schaefer's an idiot.
Yeah.
He parked like that. No, I didn't do it. It was the guy next to me that did it.
It's not that you're not the foundation of the problem,
Right.
but you're adding to the
it.
problem.
Yeah, I would agree with
Does
that.
that make sense? Because now what
Right.
I would do is I'm
Right.
saying, well, I can't take this spot now. Because if I take the spot, I'm encouraging to park outside of the lines. It's
All
not
right.
easy.
Kevin Acee on the other side. Updates on Nick Pivetta.
Vaughn's on 30th Street.
We don't talk about that, but you're going to hear about Fernando Tatis Jr., whether he's staying at second or moving back to the outfield. The latest on Pivetta and more with Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, coming up next on San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. In NBA news, Luka Doncic is set to return from Spain this Friday and join the Lakers. His status is still unknown. He was over in Europe getting treatment for his hamstring. The team's playoff series with the Rockets begins on Saturday. The Padres were off today, but they started set tomorrow with the Mariners at Petco Park. It's going to be Brian Wu pitching for the Mariners and Michael King going for the Padres. First pitch is set for 6:40. During Lowe's Deck Days, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. Shop the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
All right, back with you, Schaefer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. If you missed our conversation with Kevin Acee, our Padres insider from earlier on this Padres off day, again, the Padres have won 5 straight. Fernando Tatis Jr. this weekend, moving from right field to second base. We started our conversation with Kevin on that.
Yeah, I mean, first off, they have to make room for everybody to play, right? Well, who are they going to put Cronenworth out right?
Right.
But, like, it was funny because before the game and leading up to it, Stammen's like, maybe let's put a smile on his face and all this. After the game, Stammen plays it down like, you don't think the position had anything to do with it. Fernando basically blows off the question about it. But more than anything, because I bet you that they would love be like, oh, let's keep riding this second base thing. But where are they going to play everybody? It's just that they are making an effort. And I wrote about it the other day. It is super important to Craig Stammen that everyone is taken care of health-wise. Everyone gets involved in the game. But, I mean, Cronenworth doesn't need another day off. Bogarts doesn't need another day off. So where are you going to play everybody? So, and look, the more you don't play Fernando in right, the more you're asking for trouble in right. So, like, Fernando Tatis is a platinum glover in right field. So that's where he'll be. But this is great for them that they know that they can do it. Because the truth is, Sungmin Song is not tearing it up in AAA. So, like, good for Ty France, right? Gets a bomb because that did not spell like a lot of good for Ty France when he said, hey, you know what? Let's put the guy who's never started out there at second base over Ty France. That was not good for Ty France. But, like, I think, Ty France has a place on this team as long as Sungmin Song is struggling, and Tatis has a place in right field.
Well, Kevin, I mean, even if it's brief, maybe there's some positive vibes that come out for Tatis, goes back into right, and maybe it changes some things for him. Of course, the big news yesterday, and as John mentioned on Nick Pivetta, I'm curious, based off of what you listening to Pivetta yesterday, listening to Stammen yesterday. Just your overall thoughts on what happened, and obviously him being pulled. And I don't know if you've heard anything today, but just the latest from your end.
I've been through this so much where things can change over the next couple days. You kind of, I don't want to say want to, but you're troubled by it because this is not normal. And you had that thing in the off season. You got he's had things in the past. Oh boy. But then you go, had the thing in the spring training that wasn't maybe he just wasn't feeling well. And he was throwing so well, but that velocity drop, that's concerning. But when I started to say I've been through this so much, we need to wait a few days. We need to see here, to be, they're saying that they're optimistic. If I could tell you what they're saying, they're saying they're optimistic. I'm not saying I don't buy it. I'm saying I've been through this too much to really place much stock into what is happening or what is being said right now.
So it's probably we talked about this earlier. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. I mean, you think about 2024 postseason, you lose Joe Musgrove. Obviously, that's so magnified. I mean, that's the postseason. You're playing the Dodgers. Or 2025, you're up a game on the Dodgers and you lose Michael King, I remember, on that random off day in August. I mean, if he were to miss significant time, that importance can't be overstated, right? Because we've just seen it play out all too often over the years.
Yeah. Now, so going off the way that you just described it, especially like the Joe Musgrove issue, there's absolutely nothing you can do when you lose Joe Musgrove in the wild card series.
True.
Well, they're already thinking, what do we need to do and what might we be able to do? We get a new owner in here. We've got a little cash. If it's going to happen, it's best it happens early, right? And, it's not what you want. Nick Pivetta is a heck of a pitcher. Their hope is that he comes back and that he's Nick Pivetta, which it appeared that he was for, 2.5 starts. But if it was going to happen where you're going to lose a guy, you want it to be in April because you have the season. You have until, August 3rd this year to get somebody else, because it is a huge thing. Because I don't care what Matt Waldron is doing, unless he's going to come back and for the entirety of the season be the guy he was for 11. Depends on what you want to say. For 11 starts in 2024, he was as good as anyone in the league. You could take it out to where 16 of his starts in a row, he was a pretty darn good pitcher. If he's that guy for the whole year, then great. But you've got to have Michael King, and I don't know if it's Randy Vasquez, I don't know if it's Joe Musgrove, and you've got to have, when we get to the playoffs, I don't think I'm a part of the team, I'm saying we, like the general we, when a team gets to the playoffs, they've got to have another guy. You just do. And so, hey, if Nick Pivetta is down, better to have it happen in April.
Kevin Acee joining us here, Schaefer and Sliwa Show, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin, I know we spent some time on that, and that's a gut punch for everybody, but the Padres, phenomenal baseball over the course of the last week and a half. John and I were just talking about it, 9 of 11, 8 of 9, obviously sweep the Colorado Rockies. One of the best records in Major League Baseball, and just like when they were 2-5 through 7 games and now 10-6 through 16, it is early. But what have you made of just this stretch run and specifically the series against the Rockies?
Well, they took care of business, which is something that I saw some disappointing Padres teams not do, right? Losing records against the Pirates, losing records against the Rockies. And they took care of business. And everyone came in, they're talking about how good the Rockies were. Not good, like anyone thought they were going to the playoffs, but how much better they were. And I do think they're better. They have a different energy, a different vibe, and they seem to have some decent talent. They're not pathetic, but they're kind of the same old Rockies. And the Padres took care of them. So there's that. The thing that is just standing out to me is what I saw, but also what they were saying when they were struggling about how they would be okay. They are. They have been taking probably most consistent good at bats that I have seen any Padres team take in the last, look, let's only go back to 2020 when they were actually a decent team. But the most consistent offense in terms of, because in baseball, man, it's like when a manager makes a pitching change, a manager makes puts a pinch hitter in, it might not work out. A really good at bat, an 11 pitch at bat, just fouling off nasty pitches, and then you strike out. But it was still a really good at bat. It isn't always going to work out, but this is the most consistent offense that I have seen through, 16 games.
To your point, my final one, Kevin, and I know we always have to preface everything with it's early. At some point you don't, but I'm going to do it anyway.
In August, we should still do it. We'll just say it's early.
It's not early like 3 games. Right. But they've played, 16 games, 1/10 of their schedule. I can't believe this surprised me. I just looked it up at Baseball Reference. They're 7th in baseball in slugging, which shocks me, but I know they've been scoring obviously at a better clip here recently. And then they are, I'd have to count 3, 4, 5, 6, 10th roughly in OPS on base plus slugging. So, again, now I'm starting to remember 2024 and how that offense really wasn't out of games. It wasn't only because of the home run ball. It was because of those big innings that they seemingly
coming
had.
back from losses.
And coming back from deficits. I don't know. I'm just kind of furthering your point that it's feeling more like 2024 to me than 2025 right now.
It can mean something. I'm just so, I don't want to say jaded, but just like when you watch this game long enough, right? Like anybody. you're like, oh, gosh, it's early, man. Can't win you can't win it in April. You can't lose it. You can, but you can't win it in April. Not going to get too geeked. But yes, like I said, it's the thing that I'm believing in, whatever their record is, I'm believing in like the team that they have been so far. And it can be a thing. We have seen it where they believe that anyone can do it. I thought that was like, I'm sure that was shocking to people when they were talking about after the first walk-off where, anyone in this lineup. And it's like, if someone was just looking at the stats, they're like, what do you mean anyone in this lineup? You guys suck. Well, if the players believe it, like it might be true because that's a big part of this game. And again, I just can't stress it enough. I feel like because of everything that, people were thinking for the first 7 games, I just can't stress it enough. From day one, this is the best at-bats I've seen from a Padres team. Now, maybe I'm not saying that in 16 games from now, but right now, and I was saying it back then. I wasn't saying it was the best I've seen. I was saying, they're doing better than their results are. And not like I thought they were then going to win 8 of 9 now. But that doesn't surprise me because of that. Now, look, I'm not saying there ain't issues. Like the bullpen, I've said that before several times. No matter how good a bullpen is, it's the scariest part of your team to think is the strength because that thing can go downhill fast. And there's questions about the bullpen. Now you've got questions about Nick Pivetta. So I'm not saying that this is a team that is going to challenge the Dodgers, but I think it's a team that if you thought they were a wild card team, I think that's what this team is.
Kevin, final one for me as well. By the way, there's a beauty in saying that. I mean, they don't have to challenge the best team in Major League Baseball. They just got to be in the mix. So I think that's important. I know to start the season, Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis and Manny Machado, all these household big names for the Padres. How has Ramon Laureano, how has that name just kind of started? Do you feel it from a fan perspective? Do you feel it when he comes to bat? Just I hope this guy gets the love that he should be getting because he's off to a great start and he seems like he's just going to be great all season for the Padres.
And he's just he should be one of your favorite players because of how much he cares and how hard he goes, right? And that's why he's gotten 2 days off already. If you go back and you look, this guy has a real injury history and hasn't, played that much actually, but he plays so hard. Like that 4 or 5 days he got off in spring training was because like he was ready for the season. Like this guy's he's what you want. He's what you think that a major league player should be. When like he should be in Little League. That's what Ramon Laureano reminds me of. Is like a Little Leaguer, man. He's the ballpark every day, and he's just psyched and ready to go, and probably kick your ass too. Like he should be one of fans' favorite players, and I thought he was one of the big questions because he had such a good year last year, and then was pretty good for the Padres, and. Can he do it again? Now we haven't seen because it's whatever he is, 13 games. He's played 13 games or whatever it is. But I like to see guys answer the bell, and I think Ramon Laureano is.
Yeah, he's been terrific. He really has. In a Padres uniform, I think he changes everything last year if he's healthy in the postseason, which of course he was not.
Fair. He would have changed how they did their lineup.
Of course.
Yeah. It's just, and that 3-game series, I mean, it was on the margins at the end. I mean, it was like one at bat.
Couldn't get any big hits either.
Yeah, exactly.
Machado with the only big hit.
But I'm crying over spilled milk. Kev, we'll do it again later in the week. Appreciate you doing it. Next time, maybe have Fernando with you as well for our listeners.
Yeah, I really disappointed you right from the start. And it kind of threw me off. I'm like, I'm supposed to be better than that.
That's my bad. No, you're not. Tatis, no, you're having a similar start to the year as Fernando. That's
what's going on with the two of you all of a sudden.
I have no idea.
I'm hitting the ball hard.
You are.
He's hitting it right at somebody.
You are.
I'm frustrated, but I'm good. But I'm still kind of keeping it in. Which, by the way, I do want to point that out. Like, you can tell Tatis is pissed, or you could before these last couple of days. But honestly, considering what he's done in the past, you haven't seen the past. The guy is still staying engaged, and maybe this weekend showed that he's going to be okay.
You switch from beat writer to columnist. This happens.
Yeah.
Look at Tatis. He went from right to second. Whatever. Terrible analogies. Thank you, Kevin. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Kevin.
Or later in the week.
See you guys.
All right. That was our conversation with our Padres Insider Kevin Acee. We'll come back. We're here until 6 p.m. Getting you ready for tomorrow. Padres and Mariners here in San Diego. Stay with us on Schaefer and Sliwa as Alan eats a brownie on San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app. Final time, San Diego Sports 760.
This is it. Final time.
This is it. Just for the day. You know what I wanted to mention earlier, but we haven't gotten around to so much. Do I have water all over me? What is wrong with me today?
You do. You had
mess,
like, it was like, I don't even know what it was. It was like
pouring water down my shirt.
It was like a trail.
What am I doing? I want to like reenact it. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Should I just pour water all over myself right now?
I think you should.
Like, how do
honestly.
I do this? It's like,
yes, just like that. I think it was.
is that what I did?
I think it was. Yeah.
Be careful you don't like.
God,
I went to the
smoke
kitchen.
Come from the phones again, like that one day.
dude. Before you were here, real quick, before you got your brownie.
This isn't.
Before you were here, one time I poured Diet Coke all over the desk. I mean, it was a pretty bad mistake. Like, you're not trying to pour Diet Coke. Like,
sure.
You know, so whatever. We're doing the show.
That bad of a caller, huh?
It was. I don't even know what played out, but I like knocked it with my elbow, right? So we're doing the show, whatever. All of a sudden, I kid you not, we're on air.
Mm-hmm.
I smell fire. I smell a fire. And you know me, I'm scared of a spider.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on air. I'm like, there's a fire.
Where do you think? You think it's coming from somewhere outside, or you know 100% it's coming from here?
I smell fire. Then I look. I see smoke
coming up
from the phone.
Wow.
I freak out. Brent's like, "You're fine." Brent comes in here, like fixes everything immediately, like puts out. But I legitimately was so worried that when we left on that Friday, I emailed like the head of the building because I'm like, if the building burns down as a result of this,
I don't want to be responsible.
I don't want to be the one. I want everyone to know.
Brand, how did you know everything was okay?
How did you know, Brad?
Because it's just a wire. I just unplugged it.
I knew the wire was just.
I don't think I'm touching a wire if it's got Diet Coke on it.
There was smoke, dude.
Well, if I did unplug it, the phone probably would have started.
It would have been on fire.
Were you YouTube that day or no?
Yeah, it's somewhere that YouTube. It was.
Was there any smoke on the? Like, it almost looked like you were at like a club or something. Did you get like a fog machine? Any smoke on that show?
No, Jim, I think, was slightly nervous. I was.
I'd be nervous
because it was my fault. Like, hey, I bumped a Diet Coke and the studio's on fire. Isn't exactly the greatest thing you can do. And now look at me.
You got a lot of water on you. Yeah, I came back from the kitchen and I'm looking at you. I didn't even say anything. I was like, yeah, what are you going to do?
We're too new with each other.
Yeah,
I have water now all over me.
I would tell you if you had something in your teeth or something like that. I'd tell you the next day.
The next day. So we had a bake sale here today, right? And I noticed you, Mr. I'm going to the gym after work.
That's why he has to go to the gym.
I've fallen apart today.
Here you are, 5:50 eating brownies.
Brother, I don't know what happened this morning. I'm not like a huge pastry person.
Okay.
This morning, I drove to Solana Beach because that's where I was going to do my show this morning, my NBA show. And on my way there, I fell apart. I had just enough time to stop at one coffee shop and look at a pastry. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but it's flaky. It's got some spinach and cheese and something like that. I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and get that. And then I actually found a way to go to one more coffee shop and get something that was sweet because I already had savory. So at that point, I'm telling myself, I think I'm ready for something sweet now. So in a span of maybe 16 minutes, I did both.
But you also got you hit up three
coffee before that.
Yeah, you went coffee.
You don't have to tell anybody about before I got to the office.
Honestly, I feel bad. Tell me if you feel the same way because you're bringing it up, so you must. I feel bad going to like three places in like and just spending money.
It's idiotic. It's so
like, what am I doing?
You know what I do? I look at
buying things.
I look at my credit card bill.
Oh,
well, here's the thing with the credit card bill. I find a way to just. I don't have like big spends on there.
Yeah, but it's 8, 10, 12.
But it's 337 small buys,
which is
you dumbass.
Just as much as the television.
Exactly. Yeah. So I do it that way.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I'll get a kombucha. It's $5. I'll get a this. It's $4. You know what I mean? It just adds up.
It's good. But I think because if I'm right here, iHeart covers all that now, right?
They cover our expenses on brownies.
I thought everything just based off of.
No. I mean, this opens up
because I'm thinking a lot about work, so it's like a business expense. So I'm assuming thinking about work. Yeah. So I'm assuming then I could bring it in and say, hey, obviously the 3 coffee shops that I visited this morning and got 2 different types of pastries.
This is covered for another day. But are you one that is like? Are you aware of your finances? That's a weird question. As in, do you care if you're just like, whatever, it's on a credit card?
No, I care, but it doesn't necessarily stop me because again, they're all like smaller purchases. Right.
But that's the theory on using cash, which I don't do. The theory on using cash is, as opposed to making $308 transactions, which is $2,400, right? 300 times 8, as everyone knows. Like, I can't even. He would be like blown away, my former co-host, right? But the theory on that is if you had cash in your wallet, you wouldn't spend $2,400 because you'd recognize.
Of course you wouldn't.
Your brain would be like, oh man, I got to whip out another 20 to pay for it.
But yeah, these credit card companies,
whatever.
They got a good idea. By the way, now it's your phone.
I know.
Why even get a credit card?
It is so
just
easy.
Snap your phone. Don't worry how you're getting charged.
The credit card like cash. It's like you go to I go to a casino, I see it like cash. I put like cash on the table. They give me chips. I see it as cash. If I just put a credit card on the table, like, it's fine. It's not real. It's crazy, right?
And this is why you've asked iHeart to actually pay you in cash. Every 2 weeks, somebody walks in here. At least I've been here now for 10 days. So I've only seen this once. On Friday, somebody walked in with a suitcase.
They walked in with $20.
And they were wearing a suit and they had sunglasses on. And I had no idea what was going on.
John keeps it all under his mattress.
They opened it. You just saw the cash. You nodded your head and they closed it.
All things equal, though, I'd rather buy things with cash is my point.
Yeah,
I
you're right.
think I'd be more.
You'd follow it more. You'd have a better
awareness.
Yes.
I think I'd spend less using
You'd value it
cash.
more.
But MasterCard, if you want to sponsor the show, let us know.
Want to go get one more dessert before we call it a day? That's it.
No,
We're
go
done.
to. You're on the way to the gym. All right.
Some
If you
point.
missed anything today, sportsst.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or TuneIn Radio or Spotify. We're back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Getting you ready for Padres and Mariners.
Yes, sir.
Game 1 of a 3-game series for Brent and Alan. I'm John. This is Schaefer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760. Take care.